KCBF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Bills fans have been talking for years. Why don't the Chiefs ever have to come to Buffalo to play? Well, now they do. They have to come to Buffalo and Highmark Stadium. This is what you've asked for. This is your opportunity to shine, Bills Mafia. And I have a feeling that place is going to be rocky.
Well, they're the reigning Super Bowl world champs. They're a phenomenal football team with a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal quarterback and some phenomenal players.
Bills Mafia, you have to have this game. You cannot lose this game. You cannot lose to KC again.
Mike Danger.
A lot of injuries for the Buffalo Bills here to kind of overcome.
Gene Battaglia.
The Bills will go as far as 17 goes, and ultimately, it really is, can 17 play to his best ability?
Yeah.
And this week is going to be a much more difficult test where the Chiefs, their defense, as we know, very, very stout.
No game tonight. Sabres and Hawks postponed until 7 p.m. Thursday evening.
Amerks Hockey, tonight at 7.
We're going to need a really strong competitive effort across the board tonight to give ourselves a good chance to win.
95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome on into the Sports Bar. Danger and Battaglia. Glad you're with us and listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, and The Fan Rochester, and the free to download Odyssey app. Also, our video stream. We're up at The Fan Rochester on YouTube and on Twitch. I am Mike Danger. That is Gene Battaglia.
I had a disappointing experience last night when you're a fan of something and you really love something and then you kind of don't have your expectations met.
Oh.
So yesterday, by the way, thank you yesterday. Thanks to Ryan. He was great from what I heard yesterday.
Ryan
on the show.
from the Let's Go Buffalo podcast.
So like the sports bar, the whole concept of the sports bar is like, yeah, it's me and you, but we want more people to come in, meaning we're going to have a big show Friday and everything. So it's good to have Ryan. And I was out in Utica last night calling Fisher in Utica. And
Stop bragging, Gene.
It was listen, it was a fun game. I love doing that. Fisher basketball is exciting. But now comes the drive home, and all right, so like when we get to our age, Danger, like eating late at night, not really a good thing, but
don't know what you mean. I do it all the time.
I know.
Is that not good? It's not good to have a giant plate of nachos at 10:30 at night while you're watching your bets roll in and the West Coast games get going. No, not a good thing.
Nope. So it's it's a single digit night driving back, and I didn't eat dinner, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'm gonna pull. Oh, there it is, new throughway stop somewhere between Utica and Syracuse. The Chick-fil-A.
Oh, Chick-fil-A throughway stop. Get out.
I didn't go drive through. I walked in.
Wow. What time of night are we talking?
10:30 at night.
Ooh.
10:30 at night.
All right.
And I didn't know we could come across one of these employees.
Do they check your shame at the door as you're walking in?
Well, the thing is, I want to be upset, but I felt sorry for this woman. They should almost
be like, sir, this is not a good idea. You should just turn around and get back in your car. Have you no shame?
I place my order, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the woman, says, "What's your name?" And I look around, I'm the only one here. So you really need to know my name for the order? You don't need to come out. I'm the only one here. It's the dead of winter. I'm like, man, my name is Gene. I just left it at that. Well, that must have rubbed her the wrong way because now it's time, and I'm paying with good old-fashioned cash.
Of course.
Pay the cash.
Yeah.
Here's the change. I say, thank you. And they're all trained to say this, but sometimes it's not what you say, but the inflection. My pleasure. Says it back that way to me. Where
Wow.
I'm like, whoa,
so
okay.
A little passive-aggressive,
Yeah,
my pleasure.
My pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this is a generational thing that's going on. I don't know the age of this person, but I hear it now with Gen Zers.
Mm-hmm.
When they say thank you, it's almost like dismissive. Like, thank you. No, it's not.
So maybe she wasn't being rude.
It's not a genuine thank you. It's almost like a dismissive thank you. And it comes with that raspy vocal fry. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe that was it. I'm misreading this. Maybe, but
younger.
Yes. Yeah. Like I would say early 20s. But my takeaway is, hey, I don't want to be here. I want to be home, and I know you want to be home too.
Gene,
okay?
you wanted to be at that Chick-fil-A on the throughway at 10:30 at
No.
night. That's a score. That is an oasis at the end of the desert, my friend. I mean, you worked your ass off. You drove down to Utica. You did the Lord's work, calling St. John Fisher basketball, and then you see it. You see it in the C's part, and there it is. The Chick-fil-A throughway stop. You got to make that stop.
You can't, dude, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to do it the right way. You can't use food as a reward. I was almost like, I'm really tired and I'm actually hungry. I haven't eaten all day. Maybe this is a good idea.
Again, you're not supposed to do that. I use food as a reward all the time. Is that bad? Is that something you're not supposed to do? I'm only motivated by food. Like, oh, we're going to go out to watch the game? Where are we going? Because I want to eat. What are we doing?
When you were doing the draft show, and he was like, wow, great show. I'm going to Tahoe's after. Yeah, you
absolutely. Yeah. Got a plate. That was my reward. I'm like, actually, I think that was more me eating my feelings because I can't remember what the Bears did that year, but I didn't approve.
It was the year before Justin Fields, but yeah.
No, that might not have been her genuine feeling towards you. I just have noticed that a lot. I notice it with my kids. Like, thank you. It's almost a dismissive. Listen for it. When you hear it, it's hard not to thank you. Is that a genuine thank you, or are you just kind of dismissing? And goodbye is another one. Yeah. Bye. I hear that from my girls all the time. Bye. And it's not like a bye. I'll miss you. It's just a bye. See, I'm out of here. Bye. Just gone. And I'm like, all right. Well, I'm getting older. They're young. They're living their life.
But is it now? I'm thinking that's not really genuine because they've just been trained that way to say my pleasure. Who talks that way? Like people that are of an old like pleasure. It's like my hey, thanks. You're welcome. Like 99% of us would say you're welcome. My pleasure.
My pleasure. My pleasure with the vocal fry. Ugh.
Boy, you nailed that one.
Yeah. You have to have the vocal fry. That needs to stop. By the way, new rule. Can we end the vocal fry?
Explain vocal fry.
I only talk like this. I've learned how to talk by watching a lot of reality TV.
The thing I've noticed about the younger generation is that sometimes their inflection
kind
of goes up.
Yep.
And
everything is a question.
Yeah, why is that?
Everything is a question.
What?
Well, Gene, you had your perils. I had mine. I woke up this morning, and the second I put this on, I knew my day was ruined.
Yeah, for folks watching on YouTube or Twitch, that's a nice sweater.
This was a birthday gift. It got sent to me in the mail. I didn't know who it came from. I found out after the fact it was some friends from LA that sent me this. They're like, hey, happy birthday. Sorry it's a day late.
Oh, my goodness. I was going to give credit to your girls on that. That is sweet. So is that an actual throwback or is it a mock?
It's
or what is
just a sweatshirt, man. It's just a sweatshirt with the best logo in all of sports plastered right on front of it. And I was ready. I was ready to go to KeyBank and watch the Blackhawks. And the second I put this on, I looked at the weather forecast. I'm like, they're going to move that game.
Well, I was actually kind of concerned because I thought they were going to play. The Blackhawks are actually in town. They're here, which means
they were playing last night. They had a late game last night.
Yeah, so they got into town okay. So for television, they still could have put this out with nobody in the arena and just said game on. Then we got to get the team out of there. Or anybody that wants to come down, wants to walk down. And it was going to be, I'm thinking, oh no, I've got to have a danger intervention saying, buddy, I don't want to get you stuck in Buffalo. I'm glad they postponed.
Yeah, I don't know if the weather's going to be that much better tomorrow. I mean, Buffalo's just getting hammered. And from what I can tell, this band that's over Buffalo right now isn't really moving. It's just kind of hanging out there through tomorrow as well. So for the game tomorrow at 7, I still want to go. I still want to bring my kid. And all I'm thinking to myself is, what kind of an S show am I driving into if I go to Buffalo tomorrow evening? Will it be managed or will it still be all over the place?
Here's a tip, and I don't know if this will be true for but I heard from a reliable source there was some of those garages. There's one where you're driving as Washington. It was like free parking on Monday. Because just like the Bills games, those satellite lots of the Sabres, like I always park underneath the expressway because that's the easy in when you go under the 190. Yeah, it ain't plowed out. So that's the other challenge there. That you park on the street.
I've got the parking pass, so I'll be in the garage. I'll be set with that. But yeah, the traffic and everything around there, and seeing some of the drifts that are as high as 8 feet. They're like street sign level at this point with some of the plowing and some of the snow that's come up. So they're continuing to manage through their lake effect snowstorm, not just the one that hit them last week, but now this new band that's hitting them right now. And how does it impact the Buffalo Bills through the course of this week? Well, they were able to practice today. That's great because as of yesterday, we didn't really know, and they're preparing for every scenario. But the players got in, and they were able to get a practice in. And we did hear from Sean McDermott. We do have an injury report. We have all of that to get to and more this afternoon here as we prepare for the divisional round. On Sunday night, Kansas City coming in. And because it's a Kansas City week, Jay Binkley from 610 Sports in Kansas City will be joining us in the 4 o'clock hour.
Yeah, so we'll talk to Bink. We'll hear from him. He will lay out his reasons why the Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes and everything else that will come in. And, Gene, he's always texting me these fun facts.
He's got to be nervous about this game. He's got to be.
You know who we're talking to, right?
I know, but you can't. Look, I don't feel great about Buffalo's injury situation. I love that they're on this streak. I don't love that even when they're winning games, there's kind of inconsistencies within the game that make you wonder, like, what are they doing? Letting Pittsburgh back in the game when you had a dominating lead, like not putting them away. Little things like that drive me nuts.
Dude, I'm looking at I actually felt sorry because I'm like, you're down to your 5th and 6th linebackers. Pittsburgh should have climbed back into the game. So it was one of those where right before you got nervous, Bill's offense kind of answered. Well, you're not dealing with Mason Rudolph at quarterback and some slappies, elsewhere. You're dealing with the Kansas City Chiefs, who, yes, their skill people aren't as great, but you still have 3 guys that I think could be problematic and can win the game on their own besides Patrick Mahomes. Kelsey, Rice, Pacheco. Those 3 are a problem for Buffalo.
We'll talk more about today's practice sesh with Alex Brasky. Walkthrough. Yeah. The Bills Digest and Batavia Daily News. Alex Brasky will be joining us here in about 10-15 minutes or so here in the Sports Bar. You're welcome to join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326. And we should also mention that we are on Elon's Twitter. That's X. At the Fan Rochester, where our regulars are already chiming in. Brian from East Tilton. 2 boomers complaining about younger generation, a tradition like no other. Brian, stop it. I'm not a boomer. I'm Gen X. Gene, are you right on the fringe, or are you Gen X?
No, dude, I'm X. Why did No. Don't paint me as. And look, all of a sudden, boomers become this.
It's synonymous with terrible. Yeah,
no, Brian. Come on, Brian, dude. Listen.
I
know, Brian. Brian, in fact, you and Danger are virtually the same age. So,
Brian, everybody's invited to 3 Heads except for you. We don't want you calling us boomers showing up to 3 Heads for Friday Football Talk Live, which, by the way, we will be there again this Friday. Another live show. Everybody's invited except for Brian.
I don't know how that's a boomer story when you encounter it's like going to Disney and if you encountered
I'm complaining about we're complaining about the tone of the younger generation, the vocal fry and the thank you.
I wouldn't have had a problem with it, but I've heard this about Disney, where if they say have a Disney day, that's the code for them saying F you. So that's the special way. If you say it in front of anybody, you can go look that up. I felt like I got that last night from this restaurant.
They have a code?
Yeah, they had a code. Like if you say my pleasure, but you just draw it out. No, I'm sure that's not the way that this particular chain trained you.
Yeah. Could have been worse, Gino. I mean, you were eating last night on your way home from Utica, and as you were getting your spicy chicken, she could have said, sir, see you next Tuesday.
Right, it was Tuesday night. How did you know I got spicy chicken?
Because that's the move.
Yeah, that's
totally
the
move. I'm not gonna go as far as milkshake, but spicy chicken is the move.
that decision was taken from me on the milkshake by the time of day. Like they don't keep that milkshake open. No, not at 10:30 on a Tuesday night.
Hate to see it.
Nope.
Nothing better than talking football, along with some unbelievable beer from Three Heads and food from Good Smoke Barbecue. It'll be Gino and I live Friday from Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue. That's 3 until 6. The Sports Bar taking the show on the road for Friday Football Talk Live, the playoff edition. All your Bills and Chiefs game day coverage. Great beer, delicious barbecue from Good Smoke, and as one of our other regulars on Twitter, Chris from South Central Kentucky, points out, the Bills are undefeated when we host a Friday Football Talk Live.
Okay, let me think this through. We did the Raider game, blowout. Sorry, Andre Fontenette. He knew that was coming too. We did the Giants game. Okay, that's a win. We did the Jets game. Win. Mm-hmm. And then we did the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chiefs Part 1.
Yep.
Back in December.
Yep.
All right. There we go. What other thing? Here, you want some more sports? Come to think about this, all right? So this is crazy, this amount of primetime games. I love myself, Sunday and 1. We're getting away from that just in general. I have more than that, and I'll drink to that. But this will be the 8th primetime game for the Buffalo Bills this year. 6:30 Sunday night. That is primetime. Well, next week, the AFC Championship game, say the Bills are in it, that's 3 o'clock. Okay, they rotate it. The Bills will be first up. Okay, I like that, 3 o'clock. What would be the 9th primetime game?
The Super Bowl.
What significance does that hold, Mike Danger?
9 times.
9 primetime games? You believe in numerology, folks?
The Sports Bar karma is real. Okay, that's as far as we're gonna. And dare I say, was there a Friday Football Talk Live where the Bills lost? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to rack my brain. Have we ever done a Friday Football Talk Live? We did a playoff Friday Football Talk Live last year, did we not? Was it before Cincinnati or was it before Miami? It was before Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And so, therefore, I think Chris is actually dating this back to our very first Friday live show from Three Heads. And I don't think the Bills have lost when we've done that show live. We might have to check our records on that. But I'm pretty sure Chris is accurate in saying that the Bills, as long as Gino and I are drinking Three Heads on a Friday afternoon, doing our show live from Three Heads, the Bills can't lose, don't lose, won't lose. Undefeated. And if they make it to the Super Bowl, their 9th primetime game,
9 times.
It's all setting up too perfectly in the Sports Bar. The karma is real.
This has the feel, right? I'm listening to Brownie, and he's talking about vanquishing the Chiefs, which is kind of silly because the Bills have won in Arrowhead each of the last 3 regular seasons, but not when it mattered the most. And if you had to write the story of how the Buffalo Bills were going to get it done and finally cross the finish line, well, would it feel less complete if you didn't have the Chiefs somewhere standing in your path along the way?
Need to happen.
Yeah.
It's the right way. It's the way it should be. It's lining up perfectly. And even if you have to go, if you beat the Chiefs, you have to go to Baltimore. If Baltimore were to win on Saturday, that's fine. You've beaten Baltimore too. Like it's not going to get any easier. Even if Houston wins, and you're hosting Houston, I don't feel great about that matchup for the Bills. These are all going to be tough. They're all going to be tightly contested. And it's not like the Bills are going in playing their best football, because they're playing well and they're winning games, but they're not their best football was the Dallas game. And they've kind of regressed a little bit from that. At times they look unstoppable. And other times they look incompetent.
I think the offense this past week against the Steelers, what more could you have asked for? Sure, Josh missed a few passes. You didn't turn it over.
No turnovers is key.
You stalled out twice. Now special teams, all right, 2 missed field goals, 1 blocked, and then I don't know what bad. The news from today, Matt Haack is your new punter for the Buffalo. Well, not yet officially. He's on the practice squad, but this will allow the Bills to elevate him if Martin can't go. And because this is the rule in the NFL, when you get hurt, you can't get cut. So, or you're going to, I don't know if you're going to put Sam Martin on IR. Well, if you do, you're effectively ending his season. So yeah, that's why Leonard Fournette, hey, Leonard, sorry, we're going to have to let you go. Wouldn't surprise me once Martin gets healthy. All right, thank you, Matt Haack. Here you go. And then you bring back Fournette to the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't know. Is Martin going to miss? He was kicking on Monday. I mean, he was punting as recently as Monday. I'm sorry, as recently as yesterday, I should say. But we'll see. We'll see what that injury looks like for Martin, who, it was a walkthrough today, and Martin is one of several Bills players who had a DNP next to his name. You still don't have Rapp or Spector. Spector out with his back. Von Miller getting a day of veterans rest.
Always
Same with
on
Leonard.
always on a
Floyd.
Wednesday.
Yep. Gabe Davis, Terrell Bernard, Christian Benford all did not participate. You had a limited session for Tyrell Dodson, and Rasul Douglas as well. This, again, a walkthrough practice, so this is the estimated injury report, right?
Yeah, this is, we are at peak. You don't need to know. It's almost like the Bills have morphed into the Patriots. I have to laugh every time that McDermott, post-game, is asked about the injuries. I don't know. I got to talk to Nate. I don't really. Really? You don't know? Yeah. It's always a little, no, you do know. And look, we're on a need-to-know basis, and we don't need to know, according to the Buffalo Bills, and I think we should just be fine with that. I think this is the instance where there is a little bit of a competitive advantage. Who are you targeting here? The Chiefs, you go after the Winkus Link. Well, is that going to be corner 2? Is it going to be middle linebacker? Could it be the player that fills in for Taron? We don't know who's available and who's not. We can kind of take a guess, but you don't want to give the Chiefs any advance warning here.
Let's get to Alex Brasky covering the Buffalo Bills for the Batavia Daily News, also Bills Digest. We'll get the latest from Brasky and from Orchard Park next in the Sports Bar. You can join us by calling 866-4FAN, 866-4326.
Wednesday injury report is out for the Buffalo Bills, who did get their walkthrough in today. Not on the field, Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Gabe Davis, Sam Martin, and Balin Spector. Josh Allen on the Kansas City defense.
They do a good job with their rush patterns in their games within their D-line. So, again, it's something that we got to work on, and we got to make sure that we're prepared to handle what they can throw at us. But, it's a really, really good group. And then you throw that in with the back end that they got. It's a pretty special defense, so we're going to have our hands full.
Matt Hawk today, the punter, formerly in Buffalo. He's back. He signed to the practice squad today. Alex Brasky, Batavia Daily News, and Bills Digest coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Tonight's Buffalo Sabre game has been postponed due to the snow in Buffalo. Sabres in Chicago has been moved to tomorrow night. Got Amherst hockey tonight, Lehigh Valley, the opponent. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
The beer is cold and the wings are hot. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
It has. It's, just credit to Andy, credit to Brett Veach, their general manager. They're never short on talent. It seems like a player leaves and I think you can catch your breath a little bit, and here they bring in some new players that do some very valuable things for them in the running back position, as you mentioned, number one. And, it seems like they're never short on pass rushers. And that's some of what I grew up around and that approach in Philadelphia under Andy. And so, he's always going to have a well-stocked team, and they're going to have players at those valuable positions like you mentioned.
It's Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott on defensive game planning against the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. We welcome in Alex Brasky, the Batavia Daily News and Bills Digest. And Alex, you covering the team and everybody covering the team. It's been a frenetic and kind of crazy last few days. How you holding up, and how was today's session?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Holding up fairly well. I'm currently en route back to Batavia from today's practice, traveling behind two snowplows, doing yeoman's work in front of me right now, clearing the path for plenty of us on the highway. But today's practice, a walkthrough, plenty of injury updates to be had. I'm sure you've reviewed them already. I didn't have a chance to listen to you leading in, but the Bills are not that healthy. The Chiefs are very healthy, so it should be interesting what we see come Sunday night.
So, Alex, you look at all these injuries, and which one is the most difficult to kind of replace? Yes, the Bills got a really nice effort out of A.J. Klein, but would that be the answer, Terrell Bernard?
No doubt. Just what he's done for this team this season, filling in for Tremaine Edmonds, who departed in free agency, went to Chicago, and there was plenty of questions raised by the media and fans alike whether or not Bernard would be able to fill that role. And he's not only filled it seamlessly, I think he's been an improvement at that position, creating splash plays, and the communication at the line of scrimmage has just been flawless from him this year. So really stepping into that role has been a boon for the Bills in terms of Bernard's production this year, and not having him potentially this week against the Chiefs, a team with a top-tier quarterback and a fantastic tight end and Travis Kelce, it certainly hurts to be missing your top linebacker now with Matt Milano out for the season.
Alex, what about at corner? We didn't have Rasul Douglas against Pittsburgh on Monday. We haven't had him for a couple of weeks, actually, and I'm wondering what they might do here with Benford being out as well. Kyer Elam kind of redeems himself with that end zone pick, but prior to that play, we were all kind of scratching our head like wondering, oh boy, how much of a liability is this going to be? How do you see Sean McDermott managing that position on defense?
Yeah, certainly Rasul Douglas, a big loss last week, but Dane Jackson and then Kyer Elam stepping in made that loss relatively null and void against the Steelers. Elam with the pass interference call and got ran over by the Steelers tight end, but like you said, that interception. He'll have plenty of opportunity if he gets another chance, because I imagine Patrick Mahomes will attack Elam. He hasn't been on the field much this season, and that's typically what opposing teams like to do with a player that hasn't seen regular playing time, really like to go after him, and I think we saw that especially early on against the Steelers. But I would expect Rasul Douglas to be back this week. He said that he was well enough to play this past week, and the Bills just decided to keep him out. But with Christian Benford I would skew towards maybe more of a Rasul Douglas situation from this past week, maybe give Benford a little bit of time to recuperate from that, and their confidence in Dane Jackson in that position may allow them to leave Benford on the mend here. But with that being said, you need all hands on deck going up against the defending Super Bowl champs in your own place.
Yeah, on the other side, and this really didn't show up, and the offense puts up 31 points, and it should have been more. But not having Gabe Davis last week, any kind of context, again, he did not practice again today. Now, that doesn't mean anything today. It was a walkthrough again today. But Alex, I think the Bills did okay without Gabe Davis. Your thoughts on what that would mean if they do get him back this week?
Yeah, we've seen Gabe Davis have big games against the Chiefs before, so certainly a player of his caliber, a loss no matter how you look at it. He has not had the year that many Bills fans were hoping for in that number 2 receiver role, but his ability in blocking along the outside is invaluable, and also receiving the football. He's an adequate target. He's a sizable target, and missing that in your offense is certainly going to be a loss if he's unable to play. And last week you heard Stephon Diggs kind of give it away during the week that Davis would be out this past Sunday, which turned into Monday, saying that they were trying to play for him until he was able to get back. And then Josh Allen was asked about Gabe Davis today during his press conference and was very short with his response and very bland in his response. So I would not be confident in Gabe Davis getting back out there this week. But then again, a couple days of practice left to see what happens with that. But reading through the tea leaves and reading between the lines here, I don't think we're going to see Davis this week.
It's going to be tough for the Buffalo Bills to contain Kansas City's offense. It's always a challenge when you have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. I'm concerned about what Isaiah Pacheco could do in the run game against the Bills. Put me at ease a little bit here, Alex, because we know that with Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver in the middle there, that it's gotten a little bit better here for the Bills in the run defense. You have any concerns about Pacheco coming in Sunday night?
Maybe concern isn't the right word for me anyway, just in terms of my analysis there. But Pacheco was not on the field for the Chiefs in the first matchup between these two teams this year. He was on the injury report, was unable to play, so he will be on the field this week. That'll bring an added element to the Chiefs' offense, as we've seen develop over the course of the past several weeks, really relying on that running game to help supplement the passing game that really hasn't been at the level we've seen the Chiefs produce. So I'm not sure if Isaiah Pacheco really strikes fear in me the way a Derrick Henry or somebody of that caliber does, but he certainly brings an added element to this unit that they didn't have the first time around. And I asked Sean McDermott about Pacheco's contributions during today's press conference, and certainly the Bills have a lot of respect for his game and what he's been able to contribute, as I said, over the past several weeks. And it's just a lot of fun watching him play. He plays like his hair's on fire, and really he plays like he's running on hot coals. I'm sure you've seen the videos on social media running like a cartoon character at times, but he's a hard runner and, like I said, an added element to that offense. But the Bills' run defense with Daquan Jones back and with Ed Oliver having quite the season, looking to stop the Chiefs' running game as it's been able to pick up the pace here. But a quick note on the Bills' defensive line, not only stout up front on the football field, also a little bit of talent on the hardwood as well. Saw a few of them putting some shots up in the field house after Bills practice today. Daquan Jones, I think, knocked down like 3 in a row. Dude is a bucket.
I'm surprised, actually, Alex, because I heard this about Jim Kelly years ago, that in his contract, no skiing. I mean, those you're playing hoop. Honestly, there's hoop players blow out their knees too. I'm pleasantly surprised that those guys had a little fun today, shooting the ball around. Question for you, Alex.
They weren't out there playing Hustle 21, that's for sure. It was more stationary jump shooting.
Okay, then fair enough. One thing in Buffalo's favor for this game, it certainly is the setting, and it's not too often that the page gets turned as quickly as it did following the win over the Steelers. Alex, I was kind of in the media scrum with Ed Oliver, and he's he's joking about, how great it is to get them going here. He knows the locker room. He knows Arrowhead. Arrowhead was like a home to him. This is fun for the fans, but just kind of from what you gather talking to the players and whatnot, how much are the players of the Buffalo Bills actually looking forward to having a different setting this week?
Yeah, I certainly think they're looking forward to it. To have a big game like this in the playoffs at home, a team that you've played in the postseason and has had your number in the playoffs, and to get them in your friendly confines, in front of your home fans, certainly an advantage. No matter how much weight you want to put on that advantage, it's an advantage nonetheless. You get to sleep in your own bed. You get to walk into a familiar locker room, familiar commute to the stadium, so on and so forth. And during his press conference today, I asked Mitch Morse about that impact and how getting the Chiefs at home may change things for the Bills this time around and how much more comfortable they may feel. And he brought up a good point. The Bills have had to use their silent cadence come playoff time when they played the Chiefs the past few years in that raucous environment in Arrowhead Stadium. And Mitch Morse brought that up as a factor for the Chiefs this week that will be a little bit different for them, walking into Highmark Stadium with Bills Mafia in full throat. We know how loud it can get inside that stadium, and I think that will be a factor more than anything. The weather seemingly having passed its way by that point, I think the energy brought by Bills Mafia and perhaps having an impact that way may be able to play a role in the game this weekend.
Yeah, and Alex, I know you're going to hear both coaches talk about physicality, and we certainly knew that going into the game against Pittsburgh, you wanted to kind of out-physical the Steelers, knowing that that's the brand of football they're going to want to play. I mean, that to me feels like, again, you brought up Morse, in the trenches, if these guys can out-physical the Kansas City Chiefs at home, I don't see any reason why the Bills offense can't just have their way against Kansas City's defense.
Yeah, the way that Josh Allen has been playing recently, and I think this past week was one of his best games of the season. A clean game in terms of the turnovers, the big 52-yard run, also on point in the passing game, getting his tight ends and Khalil Shakir involved. And the Bills' offensive line, you mentioned the physicality. They have been able to dominate the line of scrimmage more often than not this season. There were a few slip-ups here and there against the Steelers, but that's a talented defensive line with a lot of talented players on it, and you're going up against another talented player this week in Chris Jones, so a lot to contend with there. But if the Bills' offensive line can continue along that trend that they've been building throughout the course of the season, and Josh Allen can continue to play the way that he has over the past several weeks, I give the Bills a leg up in this one, particularly with the way, like I said, their offense is playing at this time.
Now, I'm going to take it in a different direction here, Alex. Alex Prasky, Batavia Daily News, Bills Digest, because a lot of positivity, right? Well, let's just kind of go to the law of averages, meaning every year you're going to get one road team, if not more than one road team, winning in the divisional round. I'd have to go up and look to see when was the last time, if at all, it's ever happened, where all four home teams have won in this round. Last year, Buffalo losing to Cincinnati. And if I just looked at the four road teams, which one is the most likely to pull it off? Hands down, it's Kansas City, honestly. Like of the other three games, Green Bay at San Francisco, Tampa Bay at Detroit, and Houston at Baltimore. Alex, which of those three would you say could you see possibly the road team going in and winning?
Tampa Bay at Detroit. Detroit's been a great story all season long. They played pretty well this past week, but Tampa Bay has flown under the radar all year. Baker Mayfield has been playing incredibly well, and Todd Bowles has proven himself as a quality head coach, really righting the ship there after Tom Brady's departure, and like I said, bringing in Mayfield and guiding that team to a playoff victory. I'm mighty impressed with what he's been able to do with that team this year. And like I said, a great story with the Lions, but Jared Goff is an elite quarterback in this league, and there have been some chinks in the armor for Detroit, particularly on the defensive side of the ball this year. So I think the door remains open for Tampa Bay to steal that game.
And what about that matchup between Baltimore and Houston? I mean, we're not allowed to look, or the players aren't allowed to look ahead. We certainly can kind of dream and wonder what an AFC championship in Orchard Park might look like if Houston were to go into Baltimore and upset the Ravens. What are your thoughts on the other AFC divisional round matchup, Alex?
Yeah, the way that C.J. Stroud is playing and the way that he played this past week against the Browns, a team that had been playing exceptionally well defensively all season. A lot was said about Joe Flacco's resurgence, but it was really that defense that carried the way for Cleveland all season. And to watch C.J. Stroud just go in there and really pick them apart, I know that they had 2 defensive touchdowns during that game, but Stroud played well as well. And I don't know. It's tough to say that you'd be more fearful of the Texans than the number 1 seed Baltimore Ravens, but boy, oh boy, C.J. Stroud just, I mentioned it before, strikes some fear into me. He does as someone who has to analyze the game in terms of looking at it from a Bills perspective. If I'm the Bills, I do not want to catch C.J. Stroud in a game in the playoffs because he can just go off at any moment. While Lamar Jackson, certainly a talent in his own right, what C.J. Stroud has been able to do with his arm this year has just been unbelievable. In the same vein, the Ravens have been a quality team all season, well coached under John Harbaugh, and Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson. He's a dual threat, and certainly don't want to overlook them, but I look at the Houston Texans as a team that, if I were the Bills, I would not want to play in that conference championship with all the momentum they would have gained going into that game.
How much snow did you get in Batavia, Alex?
A lot around the game earlier this week, but not as much these past couple of days. It's really stuck in Buffalo, but leading into the game, it was not quite as much as in Orchard Park and the South Towns and maybe even some of the North Towns up in Buffalo, but we got hit pretty hard. I posted a video on Sunday to my social media, and I said it wasn't only Buffalo that got hit. I was on Ellicott Street in Batavia, which is one of our main drags, and you really couldn't see past about a quarter mile, and the plows had created about a foot-high snowdrift in the middle of the street.
Jeez.
So it was a concern, but I was able to get to and from the game with no trouble.
How much of a concern do you think all the snow that Buffalo's getting this week is going to be come Sunday? And it feels as if we're just waiting for the Bills to make the call for more shovelers to come out and dig out the stadium here for this weekend.
Right. I saw the snow removal team there today clearing snow from the parking lot, and the mounds created already with more snow on the way. The mounds were already about 20 feet high, so they're going to have to not only plow the snow but remove it from the area around Highmark Stadium. I know they did a shuttle service this past week from I can't remember where it was from now off the top of my head. The McKinley Mall, I believe they did a shuttle service for Bills fans due to parking being limited due to lack of snow removal. But I don't think it'll be concerned come game time outside of perhaps the fans having to sit in some snow piles. I think we're going to get the majority of it over the next couple of days, if not all of it over the next couple of days. But the concern on the Bills side is, will they be able to congregate for practice tomorrow and Friday? Today, I know it was a concern. Sean McDermott did say that all the players and coaches and everybody were able to make their way to the stadium, but with a lot of snow on its way tonight and into tomorrow morning, that remains to be seen whether or not the entire team will be able to make it tomorrow. Josh Allen was asked if he had to solicit the services of Squirrel, plower extraordinaire. He says that he has not had to make the call to Squirrel. No Squirrel yet for Josh Allen.
Now, if a certain pop star wanted to show up for this game, I'm trying to figure this out. And, Alex, you may know the stadium better than I do. It's not exactly a VIP entrance to the stadium. And correct me if I'm wrong. Like, how would you come in? And I'm thinking really the only way would actually be for the players in the tunnel, and then you kind of take the elevator up, and then maybe you watch the game from the old administrative building. But otherwise, that pop star would have to, like, walk through in the stadium like the common folk here.
Yeah, I can't see Taylor Swift checking in at gate 2 and waiting in line with Joe and Chip and elbow to elbow and pushing and shoving to get her best spot in line.
Why not? Isn't she a woman of the people? I thought she's just like everybody else. She's just the girl next door.
I'm being serious, Danger. I don't, like, Alex, there isn't a VIP entrance.
Well, first of all, Danger, you know better than all of us. Fame talks, my friend. Fame talks. You and rubbing elbows with
Doja Cat.
I can't even be. Yeah, I can't even begin to name all the celebrities, but
he turned
better
down
than
Justin
I.
Timberlake. He could have been with Timberlake last Friday, Alex. We were ready to have you in, and then Danger's like, you know what? I'd rather do the sports bar. That's the man he is.
Yeah, smart move, guys.
So I just wanted to be able to say, hey, big time Justin Timberlake. Yeah,
right.
Offered to hang out with Justin Timberlake. Nah, I'm good. Thanks.
That guy's washed up. I was always a Backstreet Boys guy anyway. But at the stadium, I think for the celebrities, where they'll have them come in is exactly what you said. Through the tunnel where the players come in. This past game, Jordan Phillips, who was still on the IR, still is on the IR. He could have had his IR window open today. The Bills decided not to. That's a different story. But he brought his family in through the tunnel entrance. So although Taylor Swift not technically a family member of a Chiefs player, I would imagine that's where we see her enter the stadium if she does make her way to Orchard Park.
Look at if they're doing it right, okay. If the Pagulas and if the Bills organization are doing it right, they will put her where she deserves to be. Give her the Takeo Spikes treatment and put her in that suite that you can't see out of. That's the move if you're the Buffalo Bills.
There's no doubt, and maybe even better, find a way to make kind of like it was in for their game in Arrowhead this past week. Fog up those windows so you control the broadcast, so you can't show her on the broadcast. I think that's really what's gotten everybody up in arms, particularly opposing teams fans. So I think that would be a good troll job by the Bills if they somehow fogged up the windows.
What if we get the snow just to melt a little bit? Because this past week, why weren't there more snow? It's very tough to pack that snow when it's that cold and powdery. Could you see Bills Mafia throwing snowballs in the direction?
No. Now you're taking it too far.
In the direction of Taylor Swift?
Yes.
How dare you? That's royalty.
I would absolutely not put it past Bills Mafia. We've seen them throw sex toys onto the field before, so
I think it's
throwing
hilarious.
anything certainly not out of the realm of possibility.
We're so celebrity starved in our community, right? We want so badly to have celebrities give us our shine, and then when they come to Western New York, we pelt them with snowballs. That's not very nice. That's American royalty you're talking about.
I'm not suggesting. I'm just wondering, would that actually happen?
I don't foresee it happening. I think she has a lot of fans up here, and it would be really a really bad thing for Bills Mafia if they took the crown from Philadelphia fans. They threw the snowballs at Santa. I think throwing them at Taylor Swift would be just a bit worse.
Yeah, that would be it. That would be it. We would be scarred as a fan base forever. The fans that dared to throw snow at Taylor Swift.
If it starts going south, Danger.
What a bunch of savages. They got to get Taylor Swift out of the stadium under the cloak of darkness.
Taylor, don't come. Stay at home.
Bills Mafia versus the Swifties is the matchup we all desperately need.
Yeah. Alex, what are you working on at Bills Digest, the Batavia Daily News here leading up to Sunday's kickoff that we can check out?
Divisional round preview coming out tomorrow morning for Bills Digest. I'm going to wrap it up as soon as I get off the phone with you guys. Still got plenty of work to be done, and then the layout process begins. Brian Spindler does a great job with that, so we'll have that ready for our subscribers tomorrow. I will be sending out a tweet later tonight with a link for all those who would like to subscribe. This will be a digital-only issue and a bonus issue for all of our subscribers. Typically, the subscription consists of 7 issues throughout the season. Those all hard copy delivered to you. But during the postseason, we do a preview for each game. And then if the Bills are to reach the Super Bowl, we will do a bonus hard copy issue as well. So Bills Digest, and then also the Batavia Daily News. You can log on to thedailynewsonline.com. Myself and AJ Sabolsky are continuing to pump out the coverage really every day, and hopeful for the season to continue so we can keep bringing Bills fans what they love to read.
Doing a great job, man. Appreciate the coverage. Thanks for the time this afternoon, and let's catch up soon.
Appreciate you guys.
Got it.
Thanks,
Alex Brasky. You can read his work, Bills Digest, the Batavia Daily News, covering the Buffalo Bills. Always love having Brasky on with us. You can't throw snowballs at Taylor Swift. Come on.
No, nor should you. Nor should you throw them on the field. Nowhere. But I just wanted to point out, it's not like all of a sudden everybody was more well-behaved No, that was not packing snow this past Sunday out in Orchard Park.
No, but the snow explosions on TV at least looked wild.
That's cool.
That was pretty cool.
Throw up the snow in the air.
Yes, I don't know that you'll always have the proper elements for what you had. I mean, it was cold and you had that lighter snow that would go up in the air, and you weren't able to really pack it. Maybe some ice chunks that you're dealing with there, which could get dangerous.
I'm hoping that by the time Sunday comes around, all right, let the snow come in, 48 hours, maybe a couple sunny days, the place is cleared. No sounder on this one. We have breaking news in the sports bar. This is from the NBA. So the Golden State Warriors were playing in Utah. Utah putting out a statement today that the game postponed. Nothing to do with weather, saying that it was due to a medical emergency with the Warriors. So the Warriors had a team dinner last night, eating out downtown Salt Lake City, players, coaches, everyone there. And their assistant coach, now we learned, had a heart attack. So this morning, or just moments ago, they announced that Dejan Milovic passed away, 46. Danger, team dinner. Everybody saw this happen.
Heart attack at the team dinner.
At 46. And he's really tight with Doncic. So that's the connection there.
That's terrible news. Hate that. And 46, obviously, stating the obvious. It's too young, man. 46, the ticker.
Yeah. And meanwhile, here I am making poor decisions, eating at the thruway stop at 10:30 on a Tuesday night in the dead of winter.
I'll drink to that next. We've got some takes on tap, including some movement in the NBA. I've got a take on the Indiana Pacers, who made a trade. I don't know that I would call it significant, but it's a trade, and we'll discuss.
The NFL's coming after the NBA hard. I see another opportunity for them just to kind of stomp on them just a little bit and show that they are the kings of the sports world once and for all. And then this piece of audio went viral today, and then you turn out, like, fact check, oh, wait a second, this wasn't from last night, but Danger, you be the judge. It's just so good, and we love ourselves some fine audio here in the sports bar. We'll play this exchange for you.
All right, we'll get to that and more next. Jay Binkley from 610 Sports in Kansas City, our Odyssey Sports sister station, joins us at 425 as well. We'll get the latest out of Kansas City as they prepare for the Buffalo Bills. You can join us on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That's 866-4FAN. Fire up your next party, work event, or function with award-winning barbecue catered from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub. Good Smoke Barbecue's mouth-watering pulled pork, savory ribs, and tender brisket will create an authentic slow-smoked barbecue fest for your guests. For any event, Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub delivers the perfect blend of barbecue flavor for you and your guests. The service you expect. Visit goodsmokebarbecue.com, goodsmokebbq.com for the catering menu and order form. Good Smoke Barbecue Pub, modern barbecue experts at 135 West Commercial Street in ER, and goodsmokebbq.com.
You're listening to
Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
Tonight's Sabres game has been postponed. Heavy snow once again this evening in Buffalo. Sabres in Chicago now scheduled for tomorrow night. The Amerks, meanwhile, hosting Lehigh Valley. Seth Appert on the opponent.
Yeah, they got a really good team. They're heavy, they're physical, one of the best forechecking teams in the league, play a very demanding style, get a lot of players and pucks to your net.
Amerks hosting Lehigh Valley. Andrew Mossbrooks with the call beginning at 7 here tonight on the Sports Leader. Wednesday, injury report for the Buffalo Bills. It was a walkthrough today, not on the field. Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Gabe Davis, Sam Martin, and Balin Spector. Matt Hawk, the punter, signed to the practice squad. Gene Battaglia in the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Bills fans have been talking for years. Why don't the Chiefs ever have to come to Buffalo to play? Well, now they do. They have to come to Buffalo and Highmark Stadium. This is what you've asked for. This is your opportunity to shine, Bills Mafia. And I have a feeling that place is going to be rocky.
Well, they're the reigning Super Bowl world champs. They're a phenomenal football team with a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal quarterback and some phenomenal players.
Bills Mafia, you have to have this game. You cannot lose this game. You cannot lose to KC again.
Mike Danger.
A lot of injuries for the Buffalo Bills here to kind of overcome.
Gene Battaglia.
The Bills will go as far as 17 goes, and ultimately, it really is, can 17 play to his best ability?
Yeah.
And this week is going to be a much more difficult test where the Chiefs, their defense, as we know, very, very stout.
No game tonight. Sabres and Hawks postponed until 7 p.m. Thursday evening.
Amerks Hockey, tonight at 7.
We're going to need a really strong competitive effort across the board tonight to give ourselves a good chance to win.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Welcome back to the Sports Bar. Danger Battaglia. Glad you're with us. Inviting you to join us as we take the show live. That's coming up Friday afternoon, 3 to 6. Friday Football Talk Live. You know where we're going. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue. Great beer. And our friends from Good Smoke will be providing the delicious barbecue. So you've got great beer, delicious barbecue, and two guys talking Bills and Chiefs to kick off your sports weekend. The Bills are undefeated on the weeks where we do a Friday Football Talk Live.
You know I love myself some Good Smoke. So great that Brian coming over, and we're going to be sampling that. So we're going to load you up. Also, if you're a Nighthawk fan, a few of the players will be stopping by too. So where else can you kind of get this opportunity where you can watch a show, mingle with pro athletes, and just it's a great way to start what could be a phenomenal weekend here for Buffalo Bills fans.
The divisional round weekend is elite football, right? I mean, like that championship Sunday is it's great, but it's a letdown because it's only Sunday. But you've got the 4 games this weekend, and the divisional round rarely lets you down.
It's the best round, in my opinion. I think it's better than the Super Bowl, certainly. I think it's better than the championship games. And one of these games, we're going to come back and be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it happened. Now, I'm going to ask you the question I asked Alex Brasky, because I don't know the last time we've had 4 home teams kind of move along. And that's what kind of should make you a little nervous about this week. If you're answering the question honestly, Mike Danger, of the 4 road teams, which one is most likely to win?
For me, it's Houston.
What?
Yeah.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not a big analytics guy. I'm an eye test guy, but I did see this cross my feed, and it kind of makes me curious. Lamar Jackson is man, I don't want to screw it up. I need a second. There was a stat on Lamar Jackson and his DVOA.
Well, he's had some stinkers. The Chargers played, what was that game? They played 8 defensive backs and they couldn't decipher it, and bad loss for him. The Tennessee game, do you remember that one? Baltimore was a 1 seed and Tennessee went in there. That was a disappointment. And then certainly the game in Buffalo where he got knocked out. The pick six by Taron Johnson, which, by the way, today being the 3-year anniversary of that great pick six. Many think that that's the best defensive play in Buffalo Bills history.
I don't want to say the stat wrong, but it was something along the lines of Lamar Jackson's DVOA is the worst DVOA of any of the remaining playoff quarterbacks.
So this isn't anything to do with postseason. Interesting.
Well, that's what okay. Let me dig it up.
Okay. The point being, though, that Lamar has to show you. Is he the one player that you need to kind of prove it a little bit here this postseason? I would think, yeah. You're the MVP. Now you got to play like it in the postseason.
So the question is asked, is Lamar Jackson the worst quarterback in playoff history? The worst quarterback in playoff history by DVOA. Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, because those two games are terrible. The Charger game, which, okay, he's a rookie. Cut him a little slack there, I suppose. But the Tennessee game was mind-numbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of like Houston. I don't know. Houston, to me, feels like they're going to go in loose. I think C.J. Stroud is... he can have his way. Hey, look, it could be a completely one-sided affair, and Baltimore could absolutely put their foot on their neck. But if you're asking me the question, the one that I see where they could surprise a lot of people, it's Houston going into Baltimore and beating the Ravens.
Who would you say is the best quarterback the last 2 months? Might be Jordan Love. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jordan Love going into San Francisco, and if you're just doing the quarterback comparison, sure, Brock Purdy's going to get MVP votes, but I'm going to give Green Bay a shot in that game, even as a 7 seed going to play the 1.
I can't bring myself to do that, Gino.
I don't anticipate you, Mr. Chicago Bear fan, to do that. Were you what was your mood? What was your reaction? We haven't talked since then because I was watching with my family, a bunch of friends, and we're just laughing. It's like, oh my gosh, a pick six? Like, how much worse could this get for the Cowboys?
No, the Cowboys were an absolute joke, and we've been saying it all year. And if you're a Cowboy fan, you know it to be true. The letdown is there. And what's going to be awesome to watch, and I'm kind of rooting for this to happen. I don't know that it will, but I'm kind of rooting for it to happen. I'm rooting for Jerry Jones to move on from McCarthy and bring in Bill Belichick, as if that's going to be the thing that makes Dallas, that lifts them over this hump. It won't. It won't.
I am looking forward to McCarthy staying, Belichick ending up somewhere and having a little bit of success, and then every Cowboy fan saying, see, that's what, yep. They're in a no-win situation.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that Belichick interviewed with Atlanta. I think it's interesting that Atlanta also interviewed Jim Harbaugh. Like, Atlanta's making it known we want to interview these big-name guys. And I don't know that either of those guys are going to be the difference for the Atlanta Falcons.
I think Harbaugh, he would play in Atlanta. Bringing, like, the top college coach not named Nick Saban to Atlanta to build the program. You could, find if it's more like how the Buffalo Bills used to be, hey, we need to hire a coach for different reasons other than football, that might be the play.
Coaching carousel conversation is a frustrating one for me because as a Bears guy, I know that all of these big name coaches are available, and these guys think Matt Eberflus is the solution moving forward. Like, okay, great, guys, awesome, well thought out plan. Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably Eberflus is better than Vrabel. I'm sure of it. Yeah, absolutely. We're good. Some takes on tap before we get to Jay Binkley here in about 10, 15 minutes.
You've heard the cliche, necessity, the mother of invention. More often than not, it's actually true. For example, let's look at the NFL having to move the Bills game from Sunday 1 o'clock to Monday at 4:30. Necessity. Wait a second. Why wouldn't you do this all the time? Why would the NFL not want a double header on Monday? Like, which time slot gets the better TV rating? Sunday at 1 in the afternoon or something that grazes into prime time? There's another benefit, too, here. It's the NFL punching the NBA in the gut again, taking their lunch money. Oh, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, that's your day? I don't think so. Why don't you take that? Sticking to my previous take, Danger, even though the NFL says they won't schedule games on Christmas Day next season, which also used to be the NBA's day, it falls on a Wednesday. I I bet they do.
I think that might be a stretch just because of what it would do to teams' preparation and their ability to recover for their following week's game, and it would just throw everything so out of whack with their
following week. The way you would do it is there's no difference between the Sunday to the Thursday, which happens every week. Well, you play those teams on a Saturday to Wednesday, same time difference. Now, why they probably won't do it is that would be like a little mini bye coming off that.
I didn't know. Is the NBA? I mean, MLK. I want to say that there was maybe was there 1 or 2 games during the day for MLK?
No,
in the
wall
NBA?
to wall.
It was wall to wall.
Wall to wall. They always start at noon, and then they stagger. Like they want to make it a showcase.
Yeah. I mean, I was watching the Sabres beat up on an inferior opponent.
Yeah, it was totally lost on me because of everything going on.
Yeah.
And I left for the stadium super early, and once you got past Buffalo, heading to Orchard Park, I'm like, oh, this is fine. It was just kind of hung around the stadium all day.
Speaking of the NBA, look at this. The Indiana Pacers making a move, bringing in Pascal Siakam. Now, quietly here, the Pacers are becoming dangerous, but let's stop short of the talk that they're contenders for the Eastern Conference crown. Here's what they'll be able to do. Beat Milwaukee in the postseason. Hell, you've already done that a bunch of times already this season before you traded for Siakam, so I think this move is kind of insignificant. Plus, beating Milwaukee is still a low bar to clear, considering an 8 seed did it just last year. The Pacers are going to be a lot of fun here down the stretch, but they're not going to get by Philly. They're not going to get by Boston. They're your 2 Eastern Conference finalists, and we'll be able to listen to Giannis explain once again how his season was not a failure.
I give the Pacers a threat there.
No,
I like.
You think the Pacers can beat Boston?
That's the team.
You think the Pacers can beat Philly?
Yes, they could beat Philly. They could beat Milwaukee.
I draw the line at Philly. I don't think they can beat Philly. I don't think they can beat Boston. I think they can beat Milwaukee.
And the Miami, who knows?
Miami's a wild card, right?
Yeah. Jimmy Butler who's recording country songs. Like, oh, okay, great. Do you.
That's it.
You do you. Speaking of the NBA, look, I tweeted this. I fell for this clip this morning, Danger. I saw this. I'm like, how did I not know about this? I watched this. I laughed out loud, and then I realized, well, this wasn't fake. This actually happened, but it was 12 years ago this happened. Celtics playing the Nets, garbage time, but this is so good.
Threes coming from all over the place, and then everything that could go wrong, foul, ball goes in, N1, stops the clock, turnover, missed free throws when you got fouled eventually. It was crazy.
Could I make one point?
Sure can.
I just want to say that earlier, you had a very patronizing tone towards me. I fully understand what a slip screen is. I've been doing the NBA for 18 years, but the way you presented it initially was gobbledygook. So, like the audience, I wanted you to come back and explain yourself. And you then just took a firing line on me, and it was uncalled for.
I don't think so.
That's exactly what happened.
You are overly sensitive today.
I am not.
Did you have a bad day today?
It's second game of a back-to-back.
The ride back from Philly,
tough.
did it disturb you last night?
That was 2 hours with you, which is probably the reason why I've had enough tonight. Time out. My good note.
What was that? That's Iron Eagle.
That's Iron Eagle and the Czar, Mike Fratello.
Yeah.
Now, Mike Fratello's still doing basketball. He's on the Cavaliers radio network. And then you read up on that, and Iron Eagle says, no, that was totally a shtick. That was I don't know. That's shtick?
Well, I appreciate Iron Eagle trying to dumb down what a slip screen is for the casual fan, because let's face it, if you're watching on TV, you're a casual fan and you're probably not entirely versed on what a slip screen can be. So if Fratello is getting a little bit too deep in the weeds there, I don't know that I would follow along. So I appreciate what Iron Eagle is trying to do there.
Right, but then this isn't the conversation you have on air. Is it? No.
I mean, unless he's just so
he's so
fed up. This is a conversation that's going to happen someday in the sports bar. This is why you have to listen, because one day Gino is just going to be so tired of my S.
I'm going to do it in a high school football game. I'm going to be like, Mike Danger, I know what a zone blitz is, and your patronizing tone to me, the audience doesn't appreciate that.
I know it's going to happen. And sometimes maybe I have my default as a patronizing tone, so I apologize in advance for that rant when it comes from Gino. It'll come. Gino will be the Iron Eagle to my Mike Fratello, and we'll have that awkward, uncomfortable exchange. Hopefully, it's not in a high school football game. That's not the time nor the place.
No. So this has gone viral, and when it comes across your feed tonight, you're going to look at it. But if you look close, like, wait a second, the Nets don't wear those uniforms.
Yeah.
Like, so why are there New Jersey Devil logos on these empty seats? It's blowouts. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is that long ago this happened?
When you talk about a video that crossed your feed, I would like to showcase one that crossed my feed. I shared it just before we jumped on the air. You can follow Gino at Gene Battaglia. I'm at AKA Mike Danger on Elon's Twitter. That's X. I saw this video cross my feed, and I'm mesmerized by it. I could probably watch it on a continuous loop for at least 24 hours and still not fully grasp how elite this video was. Inspired by this video, my non-sports take today. It's time for us, Gino, to up our squeegee game. You ever watch a window washer do their thing? Effortless, swift, efficient, effective. Can't disrespect their game. Now, I remember working the gas station model as a kid. Total disaster. Streaks everywhere. Getting heckled by my buddies. It was a really tough look. You don't see too many gas station squeegees anymore. We can't have nice things. Thinking I'm going to carry one in the trunk, just bust it out after a solid wash. You got your wife or girlfriend in the car. They're impressed. One motion. No streaks. Squeegee mastery is underrated. Let's set a tone. Let's up our game in the squeegee world.
So, couple thoughts. We're an elite squeegee season, right? Like, if you're going to BJ's, you're going to go fill up. I know that it's disgusting, whatever's in there, but
they don't have it anymore. I can't find it.
Really?
Like, most gas stations don't have that anymore. We can't have nice things.
Oh.
Somebody
was stealing,
driving away with the squeegee.
That's the other thing, too. Like, when I was in school in New York, and this is going way, way back, now the panhandlers are just rude. Okay, they're just there waving at you and going up. In Queens, when I would go see my buddy Dennis, like, that's what they would just call them the squeegee guys. They would come up to your window with the squeegee, and you'd have to be like, no, I'm not tipping you. But that's how the panhandlers, some of them, work way back when. So when I think of squeegee, like, yeah, those guys honing their skills.
Let me try to describe the video that I shared, because it's it's squeegee work unlike anything I've ever seen before. It's on a floor. There's water on a floor. This guy's got two big giant squeegees, and he's pushing the water with the squeegees. Then he takes it, and he's got one of those receptacles that you usually put trash in. He's got that thing on the floor. It opens it up, so instead of like a broom pushing trash into the receptacle, he takes the water with the squeegee and filters it into the receptacle, and then dumps the receptacle. More water, squeegee, boom, it is. I'm telling you, I saw it. I'm like, this guy is the Michael Jordan of squeegees. He knows what he's doing with that tool better than anybody in the world. I've never seen anything that remarkable. And it just reminded me, we've got to up our game a little bit.
Well, let's just kind of widen the lens here a little bit, because you were making the point of whatever it is you do, this is how you're going to get better. Fold the laundry, time yourself, go for the personal best.
Yeah.
This is how we get better. You think the squeegee guy, one day he thought, you know what, I could do this better. How many times has he done that over and over and over again to the point where who thought squeegeeing water would become this viral video that would just mesmerize?
Innovative and creative, top of his game. I tip my cap to this guy. I don't know where it looks like a big box store, like a Costco or a BJ's kind of place, but he works that thing. And I guess the closest thing I can come to it is, and I got to wait until spring, driveway seal. Get the driveway seal and do the squeegee on the driveway seal. Satisfying. Got to up our game. Set a tone.
See, that's where you and I differ. I pay somebody else rather than to deal with that.
Pay somebody to paint your driveway black is what you do. I actually get the stuff, the airport grade stuff. Yeah, because I don't want to pay for a new driveway.
I'm Mike Danger. Yeah, then how hard is that to clean up? Yeah.
What, clean up? I'm just going to throw away my shoes. That's it. Yeah. Shoes get dirty, throw them away. It's not like I've got I don't know how many pairs of busted up running shoes that have worn through that are just sitting around. Okay, those will be this year's driveway shoes. And then you wave bye-bye after you're done. Got to up the squeegee game. All right, we're going to transition from squeegees to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Or specifically, our nemesis. This is the guy we have to get by.
Binkley.
Binkley.
Our Odyssey Sports sister station, 610 Sports in Kansas City. Jay Binkley next.
Sports Update.
Bills had a walkthrough. Yes, they were able to get to the stadium today, but not on the field. Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Gabe Davis, Balin Spector, and Sam Martin. In place of Sam Martin, Matt Haack today signed to the practice squad. Josh Allen on that Kansas City defense.
They do a good job with their rush patterns in their games within their D-line. So, again, it's something that we got to work on, and we got to make sure that we're prepared to handle what they can throw at us. But, it's a really, really good group. And then you throw that in with the back end that they got. It's a pretty special defense, so we're going to have our hands full.
Yeah, we will talk about that defense with our good friend Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City, coming up next year in the Sports Bar. Tonight's Sabre game has been postponed. Sabres and Chicago, due to the snowstorm, has been moved to tomorrow. Amherst hosts Lehigh Valley. Our coverage will begin at 7 o'clock. G. Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan, Rochester.
They've raised the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Jay, what was the general reaction to Chiefs fans a week ago tonight when they ended up trading up to the Bills to select Patrick Mahomes?
Thank you, Buffalo.
It's a relationship that's long and tenuous. Yet we always appreciate our friend Jay Binkley from our Odyssey Sports sister station, 610 Sports in Kansas City, when he stops into the Sports Bar. And Jack reaching out to us at the Fan Rochester. I think you boys should invite Jay to Three Heads Brewing on Friday. Show him a quality craft brewery. And Jay knows. I mean, the invite is always there. And you've always said, I want to come to Buffalo. I want to come to Rochester. Absolutely.
I do.
Jay, how are you, buddy?
It's good. I'm good, my friends. Good, my friends. If I'm still your friend, I don't know if we've lost our friendship through the years, but no, I want to come to Rochester. It's a great town.
Well, listen, if you have airline miles, we can find you the hotel room. We've got to deal with somebody. It's a nice place. Some fun. Yeah, definitely, Jay. Although I don't know if this is the week that you or any other Chiefs fan might want to come into Western New York. I mean, is that getting anybody's heads here? Look, for the players on the field, it's not going to matter. But from where you sit here, what is your look? You went through the cold, but this is a different animal here we've been dealing with.
No, it's different. I mean, clearly, it's not been pleasant here. I mean, Kansas City's guys been hovering. I think it was less than it was 0 degrees or less, for 100 straight hours or something like that. I mean, it finally came above 0 today with the wind chill. I mean, it's been pretty cold here, and there's been snow here as well. 3, 4, 5 inches, something like that. It's not like Buffalo, not like that snow that you guys got there. I think it's cool. I love it when the Buffalo fans get out there and throw the snow in the air and all that. Although, are they going to refund those people for having to plow out of their seats? Because that was a little crazy.
Yeah, they have to. They paid for that privilege. They paid for the privilege to trudge through waist-high snowbanks in Orchard Park. Jay, let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs and their win on Saturday night in those frigid temperatures. Look, Miami is beat up, and you don't have to make excuses or apologize for a win. But the way Kansas City handled Miami, the way they essentially dominated that game, it gives you a pause if you're a Bills fan, knowing that that's the team that's coming to Orchard Park for Patrick Mahomes' first road playoff game.
Yeah, I think the one thing and this really wasn't billed, is that game, number one offense against the number 2 defense. They kept talking about Miami's defensive injuries and things like that, but they didn't really bring up the fact it was the number 1 offense in the NFL going against the number 2 defense in the NFL, and how the number 2 defense completely shut that Miami team down in Germany. The receivers couldn't do anything. Tua couldn't do anything. Tyreek Hill has now done 0 against the Chiefs for 2 games, even though he did get catches in both and had a touchdown in the last one, but he didn't make a difference in Germany and or Kansas City about how good that defense was. And it's a suffocating defense, and this defense doesn't get, I don't think, near the credit nationally that it deserves. It's the number 2 defense in total defense, the number 2 scoring defense, the number 2 defense in sacks in the NFL. They had 57 this year, and I get it, Buffalo had a lot of sacks as well, but 60 led the way with the Ravens. The Chiefs ended up with 57, which is 2 more than last year, where they finished second in the NFL last year in sacks, and they do it again this year. But they're getting better, and they're 4th in the NFL against the pass. But this defense has been nasty, and this pass defense has been great for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's allowed them to win the games that they've had when the offense has struggled so much, is because of how good this defense is. This truly is a defensive team.
Yeah, Jay, if I'm just looking at the health for both teams, I mean, I think there's a clear difference. I mean, Kansas City, now there are some players that are banged up, but I see that Sky Moore designated return, and I don't know if Sky Moore has lived up to expectations this year, but that can't be a bad thing. But when you look at everything that the Bills are dealing with on the defensive side of the ball, is there optimism in Kansas City that you're catching this Bills defense at the right time?
Yeah, I think there's some optimism. I think people want to see. Clearly, people would rather see touchdowns, instead of field goals in situations. But they've got a reliable field goal kicker that's been nails for them, including 4 in that snow. But yeah, it's not about getting Buffalo at the right time. They respect Buffalo and they know how good Buffalo can be. But I think they've been concerned about the offense getting on the same page. And a couple of weeks ago, against the Bengals, the Chiefs kind of simplified things and they kind of narrowed down who their cast of characters were. I kind of liken it to a bullpen in Major League Baseball whenever that, starts to shrink down. It took a while to do it, but finally did it when, a manager sits in there and says, all right, who's your 6th inning guy? Who's your 7th inning guy? Who's your 8th inning guy? 9th inning guys are only settled beforehand, but those middle inning guys, the 6th, 7th, and 8th, are so important. But they finally kind of started whittling that down. And the running game for the Chiefs has been outstanding with Isaiah Pacheco, and they've just been very physical on the offensive line and very physical on the defensive line. And I think they would trust that against the Buffalo defense.
Yeah, I remember years ago, and this was always Peyton Manning's MO, like, oh, there's a weak corner. Well, I'm going to go pick. I'm just going to pick on the corner. My concern for the Buffalo Bills is this, and we don't know much about Christian Benford's status for this game, but of course they already lost Tre'Davious White. If Rasul Douglas isn't able to go, if Kaiir Elam is on the field, has Patrick Mahomes in any game in his career, Jay, just gone after one player and one player alone? Because if Kaiir Elam is on the field, I would think that would be kind of a good way to go.
Not necessarily. He kind of, goes, but he knows when players, aren't like other players, and he'll go after them at different times. But clearly looks for the open man, and he's kind of one of those guys that'll spray the ball all over the field. But I think he is kind of cognizant of who's in the game and who isn't. The one thing about this offense is, this weather and defenses don't faze them. It doesn't seem like they care who they're playing or where they're playing or what the temperature is. They just go out and play. And that's one thing about this team. They're kind of mentally strong when it comes to that kind of thing. So I don't necessarily know. They respect whoever Buffalo's going to throw in. It's an NFL player, so they know that.
I want to go back to Pacheco because he was not on the field a few weeks ago when the Bills and the Chiefs met each other, and so the Bills haven't really faced him, at least this season. Don't have any memory or anything on him. What is a key? Is there a key to slowing down Isaiah Pacheco? Is that something that the Bills might be able to do, considering how effective Kansas City's run game has been here with him back on the field?
Yeah, he just runs so hard. I mean, I don't think there's anybody in the NFL that runs as hard as he does. He loves contact. He loves being physical. He loves taking a hit. He bounces right back up. He likes delivering hits. But he's important to this team, both in the passing game, out of the backfield, and running the football and kind of controlling that clock for Mahomes. Somebody he can rely on. They can turn around and doesn't have to worry about, throwing the ball down the field all the time and give it to Isaiah Pacheco. And his blocking's gotten so much better in the backfield as well. But he's a key figure for the Chiefs. I look at Travis Kelce, Rashee Rice, the wide receiver, and then Isaiah Pacheco as the 3 main weapons for the Chiefs offense that need to be slowed down, because he's going to rely heavily on all 3 as he's really amped it up here the last couple of weeks with those 3.
We're talking to Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City, which you can hear inside the Odyssey app. Jay, I don't know if you knew this or not.
Yeah.
This is the first road game for the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes in the postseason. You'll hear that like once or twice.
Oh.
Jay, is this a new challenge? I mean, like any profession. No, it's not. Nobody's sitting up more straight for this?
No. You know what, guys? Here's the deal, man. I know people bring it up all the time, but I think people forget the Chiefs actually did play a postseason game on the road when they played the Buccaneers in the Super Bowl at the Buccaneers' own stadium. Something that never happened in the NFL. That's truly an NFL road game when you're playing a team in the Super Bowl at their home stadium. But regardless of that, all right, so Mahomes has played 2 more games on the road than at home, right? 2 more on the road than at home. Oh, and by the way, they're 6-2 on the road this year, and they were 5-4 at home, so they're better on the road. Now, Mahomes has thrown the ball 36 more times in those 2 games on the road. But he's thrown the ball for 1,642 more yards on the road than at home in just 2 games, guys. In just 2 games. He has 119 touchdown passes on the road to just 100 at home. His quarterback rating at home is 99. His quarterback rating on the road is 107. So what I'm trying to say here is that Patrick Mahomes has excelled on the road more than he has at home, to be quite honest with you. And that's what I don't think a lot of people realize when they look at the numbers. Say, okay, how does the guy just have 36 more passing attempts, play 2 more games, have 1,642 more yards? It's because they like to spray the ball around on the road. But if you look at the Chiefs' road splits the last couple of years, they've been a very good road team. And when you have an Andy Reid, when you have a defense like this, and Patrick Mahomes and a team with a chip on their shoulder, doesn't care where they're playing, I don't think it matters if they're playing at home or the road. Because they don't mind. If they go stay in a team hotel and get away from things, I think it serves this team well, to be quite honest with you. Playing at Arrowhead doesn't matter. I mean, look at this again. This year they're 6-2 on the road and 5-4 at home.
The chip is the thing that you bring up that makes me nervous with Mahomes, because last we saw him, Kadarius Toney was offside, and he was having a meltdown.
No.
And
Wait, time out. He's going to say he wasn't offside. That wasn't fair.
Well, my point was going to be that it wasn't a good look for Mahomes, and we've never seen him react that way, and I think that probably still stinks. I mean, considering that play would have been a monumental play, would have been one of the highlights of the season. It was called back because of that offsides, and Mahomes reacting the way he reacted wasn't a great look, and now he carries that with him to face off against Josh Allen, to face off against. I think there is a chip on his shoulder that goes beyond just the idea that this is a road game for Patrick Mahomes.
I think he was getting frustrated. I think he was getting frustrated with some of the calls. Going the direction, and everybody thinks the Chiefs get the calls. They clearly don't. Watch that MVS getting mugged down the field. It wasn't called in Green Bay, and that was the difference in the game. And we've seen other guys. Kadarius Toney was offsides, but guys, we see that every week. We see it every week in the NFL. It's isolated. It's brought to the Chiefs' attention every week. Every week somebody's offsides, and they don't call it. And they decided to call that in that situation, and he just got mad and flipped out about it, and he realizes he shouldn't have done it and acted that way and calmed down. But he's been very complimentary of Josh Allen after that game. They're friends in the offseason. He's very complimentary of him this week when he talked about him. Chris Jones called Josh Allen a warrior, and it's tough to bring a warrior down, but they've been very complimentary of the Buffalo Bills. But I think the Chiefs the outpouring is towards the officiating, and I hear it a lot, and I agree with them, because the officiating in the NFL is garbage. These guys should be full-time officials. If they're going to have 23 million people watch a Peacock game, which was the highest-rated streaming service game ever, it didn't even matter if it was a game, it's the highest-rated streaming game thing ever, besides a game or anything, was that Peacock game. 93 of the top 100 games last year in this country were NFL games on TV. 93 of the top 100. The Chiefs had 15 of the top 100 games. This league prints money. They're going to go play in Brazil. They're playing in Germany. They're playing elsewhere. For this league not to have full-time officials is a travesty, and it's a joke.
Jay, is there a more complicated relationship, not just in sports, but maybe in life, than Reid and McDermott? I mean, McDermott's not in this league if it's not for Reid, but then Reid has to fire him. Buddy gives him a recommendation and a second chance, and McDermott's able to make something out of it, but now Reid kind of owns McDermott in the postseason up to this point. I'm just curious what McDermott's reaction is going to be if they find, like, people want to vanquish the Chiefs here once and for all. And I would think that McDermott might want to, he's got his own demons when it comes to the other guy on the other side of the field there.
I can't think of a guy that kind of resurrected who and what he is in one season like McDermott. I mean, you fire your offensive coordinator. It looked like things were going downhill. Again, the league is 1 week, and then it's something else the next week, like we talked about after this team went to London. Or Buffalo Bills went to London. But yeah, just to be almost out of the playoffs and all of a sudden get the second seed. Andy Reid, of course, was very complimentary of McDermott again today. I think the Chiefs respect what he's doing. I mean, you have to. I mean, they're this number 2 seed in the AFC. They got to respect that. But can McDermott be the one? Can he be the one for the Chiefs? It's a big game, guys. I mean, if he wins this game, you kind of take that ghost of the past. All right, you're past the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Chiefs had to get over the hurdle of the Patriots. That was the team they had to get over the hurdle of before they started the run. But if the Bills lose this game and the Chiefs make their 6th straight AFC title game, all bets are off. I know that the Ravens still loom large, and I do feel that the Ravens are the best team in the AFC right now. But all bets are off if the Chiefs get to the AFC title game for the 6th straight year.
Jay, what's ailing Travis Kelce? The drops are out of character. We're just not seeing. I know everybody's going to point to, hey, he's a year older. There may be some other distractions that we don't need to talk about, but his game isn't what it used to be, what we're used to seeing. What have you seen?
Well, I think he just slowed down a little bit. Just the age that's made a difference. But if you want to break down the numbers, he came 16 yards shy of 1,000, right? That would have been 8 straight years of 1,000 yards. Now, he could have got it. He decided not to do it. His reasoning was Andy Reid was going to play him like Chris Jones to get the record and keep it going. They're probably going to throw it to him the first couple times in the last game. He didn't play. He didn't play in the first game either. So there's 2 games this year he didn't play. But he was only 36 yards shy of George Kittle for tight end leading yards in the NFL. So, yes, he's had the drops, but he was only 36 yards shy of the tight end lead. He still had 93 catches. Just getting over 80 catches. He's one of 3 human beings in NFL history, receiver or tight end, to ever have 80 catches in 8 straight years. Marvin Harrison, Jerry Rice, and Torrey Holt, Travis Kelce. Those 4 ever. He sits only behind Jerry Rice in the postseason in yards, receptions, and touchdowns. That's right. It's only Jerry Rice, and he's only 11 receptions behind Jerry Rice in postseason catches.
Wow.
I mean, he only sits behind Jerry Rice. It's crazy to think that he's only behind Rice in the postseason, but he also averaged 65 yards a game, which was number 1 amongst NFL tight ends. So, yes, he didn't live up to the potential he set, like the player that he's been, and the drops have been kind of uncharacteristic from him. Is he getting double-teamed? Yes, but I felt he was getting double-teamed a lot last year when Tyreek Hill left. But, age has really started to show up with him, but he's still been extremely productive. And I think people, say washed and everything like that, but it's hard to throw washed on a guy that's number 2 in tight end yardage with only 36 behind the leader, and he only played 14 games.
Jay, every year we always get one road team in the divisional round. Danger, I agree. This is a fantastic weekend. Divisional round is elite. One team from the road that always wins. I asked this question to Danger earlier. He'll give you his answer here in a little bit, but I'll just ask you, of the 4 road teams, which one is the most likely to win this weekend?
Which road team is the one most likely to win this weekend? Are we talking just AFC? We talking
no,
NFC?
just like you have Green Bay going into San Francisco. You have Tampa Bay going into Detroit. Yeah, we can include the NFC too.
You know what? I think Tampa Bay going into Detroit is interesting to me. I know that a lot of people don't really care about the game, but Baker Mayfield is playing hot at this moment right now. And Detroit, I think, going to be too excited about winning that first playoff game. They're in danger. I believe the Baltimore Ravens will handle business, although C.J. Stroud is playing kind of out of his mind. And, of course, there's the Chiefs-Bills game, and I'd have to put the Chiefs, up there because they've been there and done that as kind of the lead team to do it. But if I was taking the Chiefs out of the equation, I'd say probably Tampa and Detroit. But I'll say this, guys, about the Ravens. They did something that no team has ever done in the NFL. They got the trifecta. They led the NFL in points against, sacks, and takeaways. That's never been done in the NFL. They beat 8 teams this year with winning records by over 14 points. The most in the NFL had only been 5 games. A team had only won 5 games against winning teams by over 14 points. They did it 8 times. They're getting Mark Andrews back. And I know Lamar Jackson's playoff record's 1-3, but that team is a very, very, very scary team.
It goes beyond that, Jay. I brought up this stat and the Football Outsiders and Aaron Schatz. By DVOA, Lamar Jackson is actually the worst quarterback in playoff history. I mean, for him to be able to reverse that curse, you need to get that win against Houston. And honestly, the way Houston's playing, the way C.J. Stroud has looked, I think that's a tough putt for Baltimore, even at home.
It could be. I just see Baltimore getting through this first round. I see them getting to the AFC title game. I really love what Houston's doing. They're going to be a problem for years to come. C.J. Stroud's put himself there in the conversation as, a top 4-5 quarterback in the AFC. for years to come. Maybe he'll get down to top 3, top 2. You never know. The sky's the limit with him. I just think maybe a year too soon for Houston. I think they're playing on house money at this point, and that defense in Baltimore is completely nasty. And the number 1 running game in the NFL, that spells in the number 1 takeaway team. That team is just too loaded. Yeah, they could slip up. Sure, it's the NFL. Anything can happen. You never know. But I think top to bottom, it is the best team in the playoffs. That includes San Francisco, because we saw what happened when they went on the road and played Frisco a couple weeks ago.
All right, Jay, I want you to admit this to the sports bar and to Western New York, okay? Because if Kansas City, say Cincinnati were in this, you'd feel pretty gross if you lost to the Bengals again. Or if it was New England, or God forbid it was the Chargers or the Raiders. Say it out loud. You be okay for Bills fans. This is our time, Jay. Our time here. You'd be fine. It'd be disappointing for everybody in Kansas City, but at least we respect this fan base and go get them, guys.
Yeah, we totally respect the Buffalo Bills. And yes, it would be worse losing to the Bengals. 100% it'd be worse than losing to the Bengals than the Buffalo Bills. There's a genuine amount of respect between the two. Yeah, the Chiefs want to beat them. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're tired of hearing this can't win on the road, playoff games and stuff like this. Yeah, they're tired of that. But, yeah, they would much rather lose to the Bills than the Bengals.
Jay, we hope you have a great week. Look forward to talking to you again real soon. And, well, we'll see how it all shakes out come Sunday night, man. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, guys. It's kind of funny how this always happens, isn't it? We always say, hey, we'll talk to you later this year, but it always comes down to the Chiefs and Bills, right?
It's kind of cool.
Right now,
we've got our new generation of Manning and Brady, and every now and then Manning got one over on Brady, too. So we'll see how it all works out.
You know what happens? You got to keep the window open, and the Chiefs have been able to keep that window open here the last couple of years with maybe not a Super Bowl caliber team, but clearly they decided to build the defense, and they'll rebuild the offense at the draft this year.
Jay, you're the best. Let's do this again next week, one way or another.
Let's do it one way or the other, fellas, and it's always good talking to you every year twice.
You got it. Jay Binkley, 610 Sports in Kansas City, our Odyssey Sports sister station, stopping by the sports bar, giving us the latest out of the Chiefs camp.
Before we get to happy hour, we'll get over some of the news and notes from the NFL. Did you see this note about Jim Irsay?
Mm-hmm.
So when there's a story, like we knew there was a story, like, wait a second, he's been out of the public eye here for a month now, and the Colts just put out some statement that he's battling a respiratory illness. Well, leave it to TMZ to find the real thing, because they dug up the police report.
Oh, boy. He was found unresponsive. I know that much.
Yeah, cold to the touch. Gasping for air, blue in the face. This, according to the police report, this happened at 4:30 in the morning at Irsay's home in Indianapolis back on December the 8th, and he was unconscious on the bathroom floor. So this happened on the bathroom floor, constricted pupils, like all these signs of an overdose. And I could say that because, well, that's what's in the police report. The cop on the scene administered one dosage of Narcan until the paramedics arrived. So I don't know when or if we'll see Jim Irsay back in the public spotlight.
Well, we'll hope he's on the mend, whatever he's battling. The guy... He's not my, like NFL owners, pretty much all of them, like I can't say any of them are my favorites. Like,
no, they're, like you say, they're aliens.
They're aliens. They're complete. They're speaking a foreign language and they act like they're from a different planet, right? And Irsay is certainly top of that list with some of his antics and the way he talks and the way he deals with the media and the way he goes about his operation. But it's his operation to run how he sees fit. I just... you know what? I've always imagined he to be that guy who was a little bit wild, a little bit unhinged, and kind of lived a lifestyle of excess. And if that report is true, we know that at least what we're seeing from the police report, well, okay, it all checks out.
Well, the irony here is now Real Sports isn't on the air anymore, right? But one of the last features, it was the second from last show, where Andrea Kramer sat down with Jim Irsay and he talked about his addiction and how he's grateful to be recovered and blah, blah, blah.
Well, hoping he gets well. Because you know what? At minimum, he's entertaining. His quotes.
Love to see it.
Yeah,
love
quotes,
to see it. Yeah.
He's an entertainer.
He was the guy who went after Daniel Snyder. He was the only one that basically said, what the heck are we doing? This guy is bad for business. Yeah. Oh, we can't talk about one another in line here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this report isn't really great for business in terms of the image of the NFL ownership, but you know what? I guess I'm not surprised by that police report. And now you just hope that the guy gets better. Some tweets at the fan Rochester, at AKA Mike Danger, at Gene Battaglia. Mentioned earlier how Three Heads will be our host. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue as we do another Friday Football Talk Live coming up here this Friday. Get you ready for Bills and Chiefs. 3 to 6. Good smoked barbecue on hand with great food as well. But Brian taking shots at us earlier, one of our regulars, is showing up at Three Heads. He's going to be dressed as Bobby Valentine. He's going to we're not going to be able to recognize.
We're not reckoning like in incognito there.
That's right.
Brian, last time we saw him out, he was in the Chuck Muncie jersey.
That's right.
That's elite sports bar listening.
Are we wearing the Muncie t-shirts on Friday?
I think that'd be kind of cool, but then again, it's for the Bill. Maybe I save that for draft night.
Does have a draft theme to it.
Yeah.
The Bills need a powerful, strong running back like a Chuck Muncie. Yeah.
Have you worn that? Did you have to explain it to anybody?
I washed it, and it's waiting. It's waiting in the wings.
Okay.
It's shelved and waiting in the wings. Phil tweeting, I thought hot kicker talk was the best. Who knew 2024 would be the year of hot squeegee talk? Phil, I'm telling you, if you see the video, and Joe saw it on my feed, the accuracy of the squeegee to bucket transfer is hot. It is a move that can't be described. You watch it, and it's mesmerizing, and it's a call for all of us. Just be a little bit better. We got to up our squeegee game. Got to be more like this guy, the Michael Jordan of squeegee wielders. Appreciate you listening as always, Phil. We'll get to happy hour next in the sports bar. We'll get you the latest from Orchard Park. The Bills conducting a walkthrough today and an injury report to recap as well. You can join us at 585-866-4FAN. Our phone number 866-4326.
You're listening to
Fan Rochester, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
No Sabres game tonight. It's been postponed due to all the snow in Buffalo. Sabres in Chicago will be tomorrow. We do have hockey in the Flower City tonight. And Amherst back home taking on Lehigh Valley. Seth Appert on the opponent.
Yeah, they got a really good team. They're heavy. They're physical. One of the best forechecking teams in the league. Play a very demanding style. Get a lot of players and pucks to your net.
Andrew Mossbrooks will have the call tonight in place of Don Stevens. That begins at 7 o'clock here on the Fan Rochester. Wednesday injury report is out for the Buffalo Bills, who did get their walkthrough in today, not on the field. Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Gabe Davis, Sam Martin, and Balin Spector. Limited, Terrell Dodson, Russell Douglas, Taron Johnson. The Bills signing punter Matt Hawk to the practice squad. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Bills fans have been talking for years. Why don't the Chiefs ever have to come to Buffalo to play? Well, now they do. They have to come to Buffalo and Highmark Stadium. This is what you've asked for. This is your opportunity to shine, Bills Mafia. And I have a feeling that place is going to be rocky.
Well, they're the reigning Super Bowl world champs. They're a phenomenal football team with a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal quarterback and some phenomenal players.
Bills Mafia, you have to have this game. You cannot lose this game. You cannot lose to KC again.
Mike Danger.
A lot of injuries for the Buffalo Bills here to kind of overcome.
Gene Battaglia.
The Bills will go as far as 17 goes, and ultimately, it really is can 17 play to his best ability.
Yeah.
And this week is going to be a much more difficult test where the Chiefs, their defense, as we know, very, very stout.
No game tonight. Sabres and Hawks postponed until 7 p.m. Thursday evening.
Amherst hockey tonight at 7.
We're going to need a really strong competitive effort across the board tonight to give ourselves a good chance to win.
95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
You know, I knew it. The moment I put this sweater on this morning, that my day was going to be upside down. Wear the Blackhawks sweater. I'm ready to go to the Sabres. The KeyBank tonight. Game gets postponed.
Yeah.
Now, we have Amherst hockey tonight for you, and Andrew Mossbrooks will be on the call as they host Lehigh. We'll have that for you coming up here at 7 o'clock on the Fan Rochester. We appreciate you checking out the Sports Bar. However, you may be listening, 95.7 FM, AM 950. We've got the stream up at the Fan Rochester, our YouTube channel, also streaming at the Fan Rochester on Twitch. And, of course, we are on your smart device when you ask it to play 95.7 The Fan. Gino, dwell on this. 32 seconds of Sean McDermott on the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh. Now, we are entering a tough over-under. It's Wednesday, so McDermott McLies, but it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
How many lies are actually being
told here? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they're the defending champs.
Mm-hmm.
They have a future Hall of Fame quarterback and a future Hall of Fame tight end and a future Hall of Fame coach.
Mm-hmm.
How many lies? Sean McDermott in 32 seconds, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put it at 3. I'm going low here on this.
I'm taking the under.
Taking the under?
Yeah.
All right, so for the sake of this, and you are the judge, anything that's way over the top here, we consider a lie. Like
right. Rashee Rice is a future Hall of Famer is the kind of stuff you were listening for.
Rashee Rice is the best young receiver in the game today would be a lie.
A little bit of a,
we're stretching. Yeah, we're stretching. That's a lie.
Well, they're the reigning Super Bowl world champs.
Fact.
And they've been that. They've been many Super Bowls now over the last few years and AFC championship games. So, all you can do is control your level of play, right? We can't control their level of play. They're a phenomenal football team with a phenomenal coach and a phenomenal quarterback and some phenomenal players as well. So all that we can't control. What we can control is us and where we're trying to get to and our level of play. And that's where our focus needs to be.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
That's the first and no lies told. Well, this is how, McDermott's just going to go to the facts. Yep. True.
I mean, you know, and I kind of like the control what you can control message because there is a lot of noise around this team, around this matchup, around the circumstances, around the city. I mean, like,
yeah, tomorrow and Friday they might have travel bans back in place in Buffalo. Well, that's not ideal if you have to practice. Today, what they've done, if you haven't noticed, Wednesdays aren't real practice days, just the walkthrough. It's getting down, your dance moves on, but McDermott is, I think it's always a smart move. You're trying to limit the wear and tear on these guys. However, if you can't get a full practice in Thursday and or Friday, all right, now it's impacting the game. Jay Binkley, when we had him on earlier, reached out to me, hey, that's a huge difference here in terms of the prep time, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, these two teams know each other.
I get it, but I agree with Jay. I mean, like, look, the Chiefs, when they've won those Super Bowls, they've had an advantage through the course of those seasons with rest days, right? Like, Warren Sharp always goes through the schedule and, like, plots out the teams that have the advantage because of rest days and their travel schedule and their primetime games and the international travel. And the Chiefs always seem to have some sort of an advantage. And here they go into this game with a good 2 days of advantage over the Buffalo Bills in terms of rest. And think about how you feel the day after you do a chore in the yard work, or you're doing some heavy lifting or something that your body's not accustomed to. You wake up sore the next day. You fast forward a couple of days, you're a little less sore. You've healed up a little bit. You're a little bit more calloused. And for the Bills, being as banged up as they are, I think that is a massive disadvantage for them going into Sunday night.
Well, I mean, canceled a little bit by the fact that the game is here. So at least now you don't have to get on a plane. You get to, and one thing that was different about this past week that was not talked about, Sean McDermott mentioned this actually in the postgame, I should say, the fact that the Bills were actually home on the game before. If you weren't familiar, teams, to try to eliminate all distractions, they check into a hotel even when they're home. Even when they're home, the Bills are going to the hotel. So you say goodbye to the wife, the girlfriend, whatever it is, and it's all about football, team meetings, wake up, and then take the bus over to the game. It's a little bit different. But they couldn't do that. Nobody could do that in Buffalo, so everybody was home. So that's also something that I think noteworthy, that the Bills, through all these experience, they've learned to adapt. That's something that they've learned to adapt to. I don't want to cut the Bills short here.
Well, no, I mean, if there's a team in the NFL that should have an adaptability to them, it's the Buffalo Bills, with the weather being the most, or the least significant. I mean, they almost had a teammate die, and they lived through that. They played through that. They've improved through all of these different experiences. This will be a new experience for Patrick Mahomes. It will be the storyline that is driven into the ground throughout the course of this week. Patrick Mahomes playing his first road playoff game. And I hate it. I hate it. I hate that we're talking about this, because it just adds to the chip that's already on his shoulder. Listen, Patrick Mahomes is going to come into this game pissed off, because last time he played the Bills,
he thought he beat them.
Not only did he think he beat them, he went on a tirade. He was a petulant child. His image was tarnished in that loss, not because of his play on the field, because of his reaction to the play on the field. And I have a feeling that is weighing on the Patrick Mahomes brand. Took a hit the last time he played the Bills, and he's not going to forget that.
He's going to be dialed in for this game, and that is one of my concerns here, Danger, that everybody is going to be sitting up straighter. And I'm not going to agree with Jay Binkley, who, when we brought that up, he's like, no, that's not true. They played a road game. Tampa Bay was in their home stadium for the Super Bowl. I'm like, okay, sure, but how many, right? And so the stadium's only half full, and on top of that, how many people were actually Bucs season ticket holders? Not too many. So I don't know if that was any home field advantage for Tampa Bay there.
Yeah, and look, home field or not, he's still, in my opinion, the best quarterback in the game. He still tops the list. He does remarkable things and makes them look routine. Josh does very similar type things, and you're starting to see Josh. It's the mistakes that Josh makes that I think puts him just a notch below where Mahomes is. Mahomes is still prone to throw an interception here or there, but when it happens, it's like you're not left scratching your head going, what was he looking at there? Why was he doing what he was doing in that play? Those mistakes by Josh that we haven't seen here for a while. Good Josh last week against the Steelers.
Well, when they don't have to press, that's where having that early lead and you're in control and you can dictate. And that's why for this game, I am concerned. And why would you have to press? Because I think Kansas City is going to put up points. How could they not? You're so banged up. And we could have this debate, which position concerns you the most? And if you said corner, I would listen to that, but I'll leave some of your fears here. By all indications, Rasul Douglas will be back. So I think you'd be okay, serviceable with Dane Jackson and Rasul Douglas. If it's Kyrie Elam, forget about it. I mean, it's going to be Mahomes. Okay, where's Elam? Bang, 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 bang all the time. So keep an eye on Douglas. And, if he's going to be able to practice this week again, if we get any real reports out of Buffalo with the practice.
My concern is Taron Johnson.
Yeah.
Clearing the protocol and getting him out on the field, because Cam Lewis has done yeoman's work, and you can appreciate that he's stepped up when they've called his number. But Cam Lewis trying to guard Travis Kelce?
Well, and here's my concern, too. And yes, I will give him credit. What a great story. Hey, kids, we're going to go on vacation. Ring, ring. Hey, it's Sean. We got an injury. Would you want to come back?
Yeah, AJ.
Okay. AJ Klein was great last week. Don't want to take that away from him. But, without Terrell Bernard this week, you think Isaiah Pacheco might be going off here a little bit?
Right. Well, that front four takes a whole different meaning and a whole different level of importance for the Buffalo Bills defense, and you hope that your second level there can be adequate in terms of stopping the run and in terms of guarding Kelce and making sure that Kelce doesn't get too wide open. But Kelce's always found a way to get the best of the Buffalo Bills, and especially with everything on the line. So it's all leading towards just a fantastic matchup that we can't wait for. The anticipation is only going to build with each passing moment, and we're going to be a part of it on Friday afternoon. Man, we're excited. It's Three Heads Brewing once again for another Friday Football Talk Live, this time the playoff edition from Good Smoke Barbecue with their food, and of course Three Heads Brewing there on Atlantic Avenue from 3 until 6. So you've got the great Three Heads beer. You've got outstanding barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue, and you've got Gino and I doing the show live. Three Heads Brewing, 3 to 6, Atlantic Avenue, Neighborhood of the Arts, Friday Football Talk Live, and we'll have all of your last-minute details for Bills Chiefs coming up Sunday night.
Yeah, when these networks get really good TV numbers, they will let you know, and CBS within the hour just put out their notification. Bills Steelers drew a high peak of 36.7 million. That's the most watched for an AFC wildcard game in 4 years on any network, which in a time slot that's never happened before.
Right, on a Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
A holiday Monday afternoon. I still think they stick to the format. I don't think that this means that they're going to go doubleheader on Monday now.
You can do that with the 2, 4, 5 seeds. That way, you have certainty with all the brackets, and you know who's going where. So I just thought, why not get another game on Monday night? Why not stretch this out a little bit?
I did feel Sunday was weird, right? Not having that 1 o'clock kickoff felt a little weird.
We don't have another 1 o'clock kickoff. You do know this, right?
I know. It's just weird.
It's weird. You got to fill that time somehow. And
what am I supposed to do? Talk to my wife and kids? God, what are we doing? Where's football?
What did I do? I tried to I put on Rangers Capitals, but it still comes down. It's like, what are you doing? I'm like, got to put on something. There's nothing on.
Yeah. I think I bested my PR in laundry folding Sunday afternoon right around 1 o'clock. I don't know if that was posted anywhere online, but I was pretty proud of that. We look forward to seeing you Friday afternoon. Three Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue. Always appreciate the gracious hosts there at Three Heads for letting us invade their space, do our show live, and we'll be armed with some Good Smoke Barbecue for the regulars, the sports bar regulars. We're going to make sure you're well fed at Three Heads this coming Friday afternoon.
And there's no high school football for Danger and I to run off to, so we'll be hanging out for a little bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'll hang out afterwards. We'll do as our friend Brett says.
We can share a cold one and maybe a win or two.
And lots to discuss, lots to unpack. As look, the practice week is just getting underway. They do the walkthrough today. The injury report is long. It's a projected injury report because of the walkthrough. These are the guys that if they were to practice, this is how they would have been listed if it was a full practice. But you mentioned it in your sports update.
Yeah, I got it here. So not on the field, you can put it today. Benford, Bernard, Davis, Balin Spector, Sam Martin. Now, the Sam Martin, the tell here being that the Bills bringing back Matt Hawk to the practice squad, and that's how you would onboard and potentially promote. But as others have pointed out, wait a second, wasn't Sam Martin punting in the second half after the hamstring? Yes, he was. So, but sometimes with soft tissue, it's the day after. If you've ever had a muscle pull, like, wait a second, it feels worse the day after. So who knows? Ultimately, I think the bigger difference here, Danger, it's not punting an extra 10 yards or pinning. It's the holding. Yeah. Holding is the big thing. And there is a problem right now with the Bills' field goal unit. Tyler Bass was always money. All of a sudden, not so much money.
He's been a little inconsistent this year, for sure. My favorite thing about it's not my favorite thing, but Martin injuring his hamstring, pulling up lame, carrying his fanny pack as he's running. I'm like, dude, let that go. What are you doing? Why are you running with your fanny packs? Just leave it on the field, dude. You can go back and get it. I almost feel like he was overcompensating by carrying the fanny pack, and that's what led to the hamstring pull.
Yeah, that was one of those, wait a second, I got to go be a football player. You know, these guys probably work out all year thinking, oh my gosh, what if at one point, and everybody will always point to that Adam Vinatieri when he was with the Patriots, tracking down Herschel Walker. That actually kept him in the league, said Bill Parcells. Well, I would think if you were a kicker or a punter, you want to make that one play, and yeah, that was kind of embarrassing him pulling up like that.
Pulling up carrying his fanny pack. Like, what are we doing? Come on. Martin,
I know it's cold, but
just let go of it, man. You don't have to run with it. I think running with the fanny pack led to the hamstring pull. You know, you're uncomfortable when you're in your full sprint running with a fanny pack.
Limited, at least they say today, Dotson, Douglas, and Johnson. Now, Douglas is telling anyone and everyone he's ready.
Yeah.
And he could have been ready next week. So that at least relieves my fear that, okay, the two corners, if you have Douglas out there full-time, and then the opposite side, I'm wondering if they promote Josh Norman. It's a possibility.
Taron Johnson's in concussion protocol too, yes?
Correct. So that's also the one, impossible for me to tell. Dotson, okay, that's the one I'm really watching that I have no idea. Dorian Williams, maybe he'll be a good player in this league. Today's not the day for that. When you were down literally to A.J. Klein and Dorian Williams as your two linebackers, let's put that into context. A guy who couldn't be inactive and a guy who was on the couch. And somehow you still beat the Steelers. Yeah, getting Dotson back would be big. So you're looking at Johnson. I'm looking at Dotson there. I'm not counting on Benford.
What about Bernard?
No. Even though they're being mysterious about the level of this ankle, are they not? They know. That might be the one where
if it's a high ankle, I mean, usually a high ankle is a 4 to 6 weeker, right? I mean, Mahomes played through the ankle sprain last year in the playoffs. Quarterback is not the same as linebacker. And you could tell he was affected by it through the course of their playoff run. But it's the postseason, man. It wouldn't surprise me if all of a sudden, by surprise, a guy who was carted off with an air cast and in crutches after the game is on the field the following week. Wouldn't surprise me, but we'll have to monitor that one as well because Terrell Bernard has had a spectacular season. And seeing Dotson or Klein in that role instead of Bernard against Kansas City, I don't feel good about that.
So if you're not familiar, the Benford injury and the Spector injury happened on the same play. And you remember the play. It was the Freiermuth non-fumble. It was a fumble, and I thought on the field, and I thought McDermott was right.
It was absolutely a fumble.
So how did we not get it?
Almost as if the officiating crew said, we can't get it wrong twice in the same game. We can't do that. That was absolutely a clear recovery inbounds by Balin. Spector should have been his second one.
I thought we were supposed to get the best of the best here.
It's brutal. No, and Binkley's right. Binkley joined us last hour. Jay Binkley, talking about the officiating in the NFL. It's piss poor, and there's no excuse for it. I mean, the league generating the kind of revenue that it does, and you just started talking about the ratings that this league pulled in for a game in a time slot that they don't normally carry a game. Come on, guys. I know that it's an expense, and God forbid, but
I love the fact. Did you notice this past weekend who was back? The shadow officials. Yes. The shadow officials who were all in black. That was the most stunning thing. For people that are into conspiracy theories and everything else, that Buffalo-Houston playoff game, wait a second, we have officials taking over the officials? What the heck is going on
the shadow
here?
Officials on the sideline wearing their black coats, but them because they're wearing their Rob Lowe NFL hats. Yeah. That's
the shadow officials. You know, somebody from Park Avenue in the league office has a direct connection to the shadow official.
I can't believe they got it that wrong. I don't know what they saw unless they had that video evidence of the ball glancing off of Freiermuth's helmet. But I just couldn't see that clearly in any of the replays they were showing. That, I mean, look, the Bills lose that game. We're talking about that kind of play. Again, the officials dictating the outcome of a game. The Chiefs certainly have that in their memory, fresh in their memory from the last time these two teams played.
I'm wondering if they brought over the guy who is doing the challenges there for Granado. Like, can you get him on McDermott's staff there?
Yeah, you need McDermott needs his consigliere.
Yeah.
He needs a consigliere up there telling him when to challenge. He's been good the last couple of weeks. He's actually challenged at appropriate times and won a couple of challenges. What's going on? It's not the Sean McDermott we know. What's happening here? We'll have the game for you Sunday afternoon. Let's see. Pregame would start at
2:30, 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock?
2 o'clock. I'll go with 2.
6:30 kickoff? Yeah, around 2 o'clock. Free and clear of Italian Carousel Sunday morning. You'll be able to enjoy that at its normal time from 8 until 10. Get those latest Italian soccer scores from Italy. Yeah.
Like, I couldn't figure out, why is my computer not having any sound? Oh, that was Joe. Come on,
Joe Capagreco.
Yeah.
Legend. A radio Rochester legend. We'll get to a round of shots next in the sports bar, Gino.
Yeah, Syracuse basketball winning last night, but a change coming up at the Dome that you'll want to know about if you're a Syracuse fan. We'll have that story in sports. An interesting investor for the bankrupt Diamond Sports outfit. Sad news today in the NBA as well. We'll give you a Rick Pitino update, too.
It's an incredible weekend in front of us. Divisional round after a great NFL Super Wild Card weekend. It's me, Danger. For FanDuel Sportsbook, official partner of 95.7 The Fan, for the teams playing this weekend, win or go home. You'll always have a spot in the playoffs with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So many ways for you to pick up a W this weekend. You could look at that point spread starting to move a little bit more in the Bills' favor. Are you in on the Bills? You want to take the spread? You like the over-under? Maybe some prop bets? You like Josh Allen to score an anytime touchdown? You can follow my picks right now on FanDuel. New customers get started with $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/Mike to join today. That's FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
Wednesday injury report out for the Buffalo Bills. They did get a walkthrough in today. Not on the field. Christian Benford, Terrell Bernard, Gabe Davis, Sam Martin, and Balin Spector. Josh Allen on that Kansas City defense.
They do a good job with their rush patterns in their games within their D-line. So, again, it's something that we got to work on, and we got to make sure that we're prepared to handle what they can throw at us. But, it's a really, really good group. And then you throw that in with the back end that they got. It's a pretty special defense, so we're going to have our hands full.
Former Bills punter Matt Hawk back with the team. He is signed to the practice squad. Bills and Chiefs, 2 p.m. Sunday for our pregame coverage here on the Fan Rochester. Tonight's Sabre game not happening tonight. The snow in Buffalo. Sabres in Chicago has been moved to tomorrow. We got Amherst hockey tonight. They're taking on Lehigh Valley. Andrew Mossbrooks with the call beginning at 7. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, the Fan Rochester.
Got a smart speaker at home? Listen to the sports leader, the Fan Rochester at home, by asking it to play 95.7 The Fan.
You can't back down. You need to stay. We've become a more physical team. We grew through that last year to where we could be a really good playoff team, because you can't win in the playoffs unless you have a willingness to have some pushback from a physical perspective. But we are, we're not built to get in a bunch of fights and do those types of things. We're willing, if it's necessary, to stick up for each other. But we need to stay to our game and not worry about what they're going to do with their game.
Physical opponent for the Amherst tonight. Amherst head coach Seth Appert there on Lehigh Valley.
I got to make it to one of these Wednesday night games. Just a different vibe. Support the team out there.
For sure. Well, we've got
not going to
hockey tonight. You're not going to Buffalo.
No, you're not.
Fanboy over here.
Yeah, if you're watching right now, that is a nice sweater, though.
Oh man,
that is like
great gift. Opened it up the other day. Didn't know who it came from, and then a friend sent me a text saying, "Hey, I saw that you received the package I sent. It came directly from the manufacturer." I'm like, it is glorious and the perfect timing, because I was going to the Blackhawks game. No.
What did your birthday last Friday? What did the girls get you?
Let's see. They got me some cold weather running gear.
Yeah.
All right. I got those hot those tights that you wear. I got those to go on some outdoor dad runs in the wintertime. New pair of running gloves. And they got me a Keurig for the base. The real gift was like a bourbon shelf. Like I got a shelf that I put in the corner of the tank.
Yeah.
Where I got all my bourbon bottles now, and there's this empty shelf. I'm like, that would be a good spot for a Keurig. And so they got me the Keurig. Unfortunately, Keurig is a little bit too big for this space, so you have to kind of like pull the Keurig out in order to get the K-Cup in the Keurig.
Oh.
So I might have to jimmy rig some stuff to make it fully functional. But the actual like bourbon shelf, oh, dude. I mean, it's got LED lights on it in case I want to have them pulsate to whatever's on. If I want to have the lights pulsate to the Bills game on Sunday night,
I could do that for fun.
I could do that.
The Blackhawks did make it to town, but they decided, no, it's not safe for anybody else to play this game. They could have played it in an empty arena, I suppose. Chicago, danger. I'm not breaking any news to you, unless I'm letting everybody else know. They're not good offensively. Without Bedard, for the season, 2.26 goals per game. That is 31st.
Hey, look, even with Bedard, they're not a good team. Like, Bedard's nice, and he's going to be a great player. He could be a star in this league for a long time, but they're going to have to build it around him. They're not there yet. They're not ready yet. The stupid Sharks gave them all they could handle before they eked out a shootout win last night in Chicago before they jumped on a plane to get here to Buffalo today, only to have their game postponed to tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, that game now at KeyBank.
I'll say this about Syracuse basketball. They beat teams they're supposed to beat, which was not always true under the previous coach. The Orange score win over Pitt, sweeping the season series. Next up, okay, here we go. It's a date with Miami. In case you forgot, they made the Final Four. That's going to be Saturday at noon. News out of Syracuse today with the school announcing the new seat plan for next year. The Dome finally will have chair-back seating for all guests. I'm trying to picture what this would actually look like. Navy seats in that dome. The place would look like an actual dome. 42,000 for football, 31,000 for hoops.
Okay. No more bleachers.
No more bleachers. Well, would this actually include what they used to call the curtain side too?
If you're going to do it right, man. Just do it right. That's all. Doesn't it feel like when we do things in our region, the intention is pure, but it's always half-assed when it's all said and done? Just do it right the first time.
I'm hoping that it'll look okay when it's all done.
Right. And I'm kind of saying the same thing in my head about what the Bills are doing. Like, I know the new stadium is going to be great, but there are going to be elements of it that we're like, well, why did we do it that way? And I know right away everybody's like, oh, did you put a roof on it? And that's a separate conversation.
Yeah, well,
but
it's like the Blue Cross Arena. Oh, we've got to have a press box. Like, if you ever noticed, they forgot that.
Right.
Like how can
the
you forget
soccer
that?
stadium doesn't have locker rooms.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. Can we do things more than half-assed? So that's my hope for the Dome.
Small hope. Let's check in on St. John's basketball. Seton Hall hung a 28-0 run last night en route to a win. Couple things to note. Seton Hall, they're actually good this year. They're picked to finish 9th in the preseason. In the Big East, they're actually now leading the conference.
Whoa.
Also, St. John's head coach Rick Pitino missing this game because of COVID. The Seton Hall student section actually had some fun with this. Everyone wearing masks in honor of their germy opponent. St. John's falling to 12-7.
I don't think that's funny. I don't think that's very funny at all. Wearing masks to make fun of Pitino for having COVID. As somebody who's had COVID twice, I'm a 2-time COVID survivor, Gene.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a serious illness here. It's serious enough to shut everything down.
Of students, too, because everything offends them these days.
Right.
Tonight's Golden State game at Utah postponed. This is a terrible story. So the team, Golden State, out to dinner in Salt Lake City, and it's a team bonding thing, private room, all the players and the coaches. And that's when assistant coach Dejan Milojevic goes into cardiac arrest. They did their best. He passed away this morning. Milojevic was 46 years old.
Yeah, that's too young. If you had to venture a guess, that's the widowmaker, right? Like, that's the one that gets you. When you're young, you have the heart attack. You don't really see it coming. You don't have any symptoms. It just gets you.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like.
Yeah, you hate to hear that.
Diamond Sports has found an interesting partner to help bail him out. It's Amazon. Now, Diamond, it's not really relevant to our audience, but if you like a baseball team and you notice, wait a second, why are the Padres doing their games in-house? Well, Diamond went belly up under the Bally Sports banner. Those networks have the rights to 37 teams, 11 in baseball, 15 in the NBA, 11 in the NHL. Under these terms of the restructure, Amazon making a minority investment in Diamond, which gets them the rights to content to use on Prime Video.
Okay, so let me see if I can work this out. Right now, if you're an ESPN Plus subscriber, let's just use the NHL, NBA, and all that stuff. I know you could do League Pass, you could do all that stuff, but just let's focus on the NHL. ESPN Plus subscriber, you basically get almost every NHL out of market game.
I could see that is where this is going to. Okay, then Amazon, if they own the rights to, say, I don't know who has it, the Columbus Blue Jackets or whatever, okay, well, then that's going to be on the Amazon platform.
Specifically.
Yeah.
And it won't be on ESPN Plus. Because right now, the games that are on TNT, like tonight's games on TNT, will not be ESPN Plus games. They're exclusively on TNT. Yeah. So if these Bally Sports teams are now owned by Amazon, and Amazon is going to stream those games, yeah, you're right. They're probably going to pull them. That's got to be some sort of ESPN has to have a better, more ironclad contract than that.
For now, but you see where this is going, because if everybody's scrambling for content, this is a good backdoor play, I guess, by Amazon.
Yeah.
Get some local.
I think the Bally Sports presentation isn't bad. Like, you watch some of these out-of-market games, and, not bad. They do a good job.
Baseball, I like it, because you see it a lot on the MLB network. Finally, look, to all those aspiring sports announcers out there, look, if there is a puck headed your way, just don't do this.
Pulls it back there, and now Murphy. Murphy throws the pass across. And that puck's going to go out of play here, and that's going to do it for that sequence right there. 9:25 left. I apologize if I just damaged your eardrums there. It went right over the mesh, right over my head. So
this is some junior game.
So he thought he was going to get drilled with a puck? That was his reaction? Like, what? Hold on a second. If you're going to get drilled by a puck, you don't have time to react like that.
No. Or just get drilled by the puck and just say, or like if a baseball, whatever the sport may be.
Right. We know what that sounds like. It's
ow. It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
God, Sterling has class even when he's getting hit by a puck. Not like this guy. Can you hear that again? Because this guy just loses his S. It's uncomfortable.
Pulls it back there, and now Murphy. Murphy throws the pass across.
Get a
and
grip.
That puck's going to go out of play here, and that's going to do it for that sequence right there.
Get a grip, dude.
No, that was not Andrew Mossbrooks, by the way.
You're going to be forever calling games in the juniors with that attitude. Yeah, I mean, take a note from our boy Sterling.
Ow. It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
I mean, even when he's getting plunked with a foul ball, he's doing it with class and dignity. That guy's screaming like a little bitch. What's he doing? You don't have time to react like that if a screaming slap shot is coming your way. You're getting hit, dude. Clown. That's funny. We got last call coming up next in the sports bar.
Yeah, we got
4326.
We got time for your calls here. As I want to hear from Bills fans. What's your level of confidence here? Like
it's been
really,
awful quiet. I'm going to say this.
Is, yeah.
I think it's awful quiet because we're satisfied with the win, but I think like a lot of people are nervous about the injuries.
Correct.
And we can't go into this weekend feeling that way.
So many people ask me, "What do you know? What do you?" We're telling you what we know. I don't have any like secret info here. Yeah.
Yeah, and even with the injuries, like we've wanted this. This is here. Kansas City is coming to Orchard Park for a playoff game. We can't be limping into the game thinking, our injuries.
No. If there's one side of the ball where you could afford injuries, I'm sorry, it's the defensive side of the ball. If you're going into the game without your quarterback, and without Diggs, and without offensive linemen, you're not winning. Just like last week, the offense won the game. Josh Allen, if you want to be the MVP, win the real MVP. All right? Win the AFC, get this team to the Super Bowl.
That's coming up Sunday evening. We'll have the action for you here on the Fan Rochester. Don't forget, Friday Football Talk Live. Gino and I live from 3 Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue. 3 until 6 on Friday afternoon. And our friends from Good Smoke Barbecue providing some delicious food as well. We invite all of our regulars to join us at 3 Heads Brewing on Atlantic Avenue for Friday Football Talk Live, the playoff edition. Last call next at 585-866-4326, 866-4FAN. After an incredible NFL Super Wild
Rochester.
All right, it is last call.
Tony was on. He just hold the whole 5 minutes. And he just dropped off. He wanted to say how he loved that piece of audio we just played.
That piece of audio is disturbing, and it's the reason why that guy is going to be calling hockey games in the juniors for a long time.
Pulls it back there, and now Murphy. Murphy throws the pass across.
What would make you react like that if you saw a snake maybe come across your scores table? Or
snake could get that kind of reaction from me.
Yeah,
snake, live animal. Yeah, you're discovering a live animal or something like that.
There's a lion right next to you.
I might react that way. There's so much about that to unpack. The screaming like a girl is one thing. The other thing about it is I love the Canadian accent. That is straight out of a South Park parody. I mean, like, hey, buddy.
Hey.
Gotta clear the zone. And a puck coming my way. F you, buddy.
866-4FAN, 866-4326. We say hello to John in Rochester.
Hey, guys. I would have yelled, if I was a hockey announcer, I would have yelled, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have screamed like that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and screaming like, again, take a page out of our boy John Sterling. Even when he's getting hit, he's doing it in a way it's humble, it's with class, it's with dignity.
Ow! It really hit me. I didn't know it was coming back that far.
Yeah, that's the way you do it.
But guys, we're gonna run the table. We're on our way, and I'll tell you, Mahomes is going to get sliced up pretty bad. And it's frozen turf at Orchard Park. I'm telling you right now, our depth is unbelievable. We came into the season with the biggest and best depth in the NFL, and it's paying off right now.
John is optimistic, rose-colored glasses once again.
John, I hope to see you Friday at Three Heads.
Yes. John, one of our many regulars that we hope to see at Three Heads, coming up for Friday Football Talk Live, starting at 3 o'clock. Neighborhood of the Arts on Atlantic Avenue. Hey, look, you could say after a game like the Bills played against Pittsburgh that the depth was spectacular. You can't take anything away from any of the guys that stepped up. A.J. Klein, Kerry Elam, Dorian Williams, everybody that stepped up when their number was called played well against a team that, let's face it, probably wasn't a playoff team. This is defending Super Bowl champs. Patrick Mahomes just played in a sub-zero game. He's not worried about the turf in Orchard Park. He's not worried about the cold in Orchard Park or the snow in Orchard Park. In fact, if Patrick Mahomes is going to carry a chip, it's partially because Patrick Mahomes, Inc. took a big hit the last time these two teams played because of his reaction to a call that he thought the refs got wrong. There's a lot to be nervous about. The injuries are a big part of that. But just the Chiefs coming in, fresh off that win against Miami, that dismantling of Miami. They have no reason to be afraid of Buffalo. They can come in with all the confidence in the world.
Do you want a press credential for this game? Because deadline's coming up. I just thought maybe you'd want to go reunite with Taylor, maybe?
Oh, Taylor. You think Taylor's coming to the game? That's happening, right? Do the right thing.
Yeah.
Listen, Terry, we know you listen to the Sports Bar. And we know you have a suite designated for your legends of the game. I mean, we heard Takeo Spikes said great things about it earlier.
The one with the obstructed view?
That's where you put America's royalty. That's where you put Taylor Swift. Put her in the Takeo Spikes suite for Sunday night's game. No excuses. Show her the utmost hospitality and put her in the Takeo Spikes suite. She's going to create a scene, right?
There's no VIP entrance in that stadium to my knowledge.
Yeah.
There's nothing below the concourse. It's just literally the tunnel that goes down to the two locker rooms.
Got a lot to say, and maybe I'll say it Friday live from Three Heads Brewing when it comes to Travis Kelce's girlfriend coming to the game. Tomorrow, 13 Wham Sports, BuffaloPlus.com's Dan Fates stops by the sports bar.
Yeah, because who knows if Dan and the rest of the Bills reporters will be able to make it down to the stadium tomorrow. But Dan is going to be kind enough to give us a few minutes and give us his thoughts on Bills Chiefs.
We appreciate you checking out the sports bar on YouTube and Twitch at The Fan Rochester and the free-to-download Odyssey app. The JR Sport Brief is next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to Bar with Danger and Battaglia.